It's a lot more emotion now, I think, when we're playing than mechanical. I feel like when we were playing before, I had to think a lot more. Like I was like,
Are you talking Infinite Design or
even Iron? Like when we were doing like Deception of Escape or Silence is Violence and stuff like that. Like I'm tremming and trying to sing a lot more, and you were blasting a lot more too, like or just doing a lot more like off the wall kind of beats, and to where I feel like now it's a little bit more like, let's feel this, let's really get into it, and then I want the people watching us to feel what I'm feeling. And I feel like we're able to portray that more with the way that we're going about it now.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Metal Maniacs Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Ingersoll, and I'm here with a man that slept in, so he's angry again.
That's your boy Mod. What's good, Jay?
What's up? Or didn't sleep, I should say.
Oh, once I fell out, man, it was black.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You went black?
I went deep into the coma.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, today is a little interesting because, I don't always advocate for my own product on the show. We talk about it a little bit here and there, but I always try to make it about somebody else. So trying to make today's show not about me will be the challenge. But today we are joined by xIron Sharpens Iron.
Woo. Oh, yeah.
And Adam will be strolling in here. He overslept, but we do got a hard out today. So we were just like, we're going to start and we can get a lot of it done. And then if Adam needs to answer any questions, he can. So what's up, fellas?
What's up? Thanks for having us.
What up?
Yeah. Thanks for making it out.
Thanks for having you.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
to be here. Sweet.
Yeah, I didn't know, so I asked Larry. So I wore my own shirt on my own podcast about my own band today.
Right.
So I think that's fair because I'm not wearing my own band shirt on stage.
Well, technically, I'm on the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
So I mean, not the first time you've had me on your back, but I mean,
fun, yeah, carrying you all these years, motherfucker.
Holy shit.
Hey-o. Damn. I had to. You left the door open for that. That's not true.
The door's always open.
It's going to be a wild one, folks.
Yeah. So, the reason why having you guys on a few things. So this will be our 100th episode too, like as far as posting.
All
so
right.
that's kind of cool. I wanted to make it my best friends.
Hell yeah.
I was wondering if we had something special planned.
Yeah,
Here it
yeah.
is. You
So,
guys,
yeah.
100.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's something to say for that. So before we even get into the xIron Sharpens Iron thing, I just want to go over this real quick because 100 episodes, a lot of people are like, 100 episodes, we've grown, we've done a lot in 100 episodes, and we've done more than 100 episodes because I didn't count any of the like news ones we've done. I didn't count any of the live stuff that we've done to go out to shows. So we've done more than 100, but like 100 official, today's the day. So
Here it is.
even though there are over 4.5 million podcasts, not all of them are active. Only around 450,000 to 500,000 podcasts are actively producing new content as of 2025. Many shows stop updating after fewer than 10 episodes, a phenomenon that's often referred to as the pod fade. And it says the average podcast publishes approximately 21 episodes before becoming inactive. So 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3.
Wow.
That's 1.8 million people who quit podcasting after they start. Of the 200,000 left, 90% of them will quit before 20 episodes. That's another 180,000 gone. So to be the top 1% of podcasts in the world, you need to publish 21 episodes on your podcast.
Sweet.
So it says your competition is not the 2 million podcasts, it's the 20,000 podcasters who don't quit.
Wow.
All right.
So I just thought that was interesting
Yeah.
because we've made it past 100 episodes and we don't have no plan on stopping. We keep on going.
Well, the cream rises to the top.
Right, exactly.
Fuck yeah.
and like anything, and we all know at this table because we have so much history. I mean, Ian, you're new, but you've been playing forever too. It's all about the consistency, right? Like how long you keep doing something. Like, and eventually, and at the end of the day, we've always said this about the pod. We do it for us.
Yeah.
Do we want the numbers? Yeah. Would it be cool to make a few bucks? Yeah, that'd be cool because we love doing it. But at the end of the day, we still do it. So me and you can get together every Sunday.
Just checked my bank account yesterday. It's hurting.
I need them royalties.
Well, yeah,
It's limping along.
I mean, and not to say as, not as a friend, but as just like a person that likes, because I'm not even a guy that watches podcasts.
Sure.
I'm just not. I have ADD and I can't concentrate on shit. But like you guys do a great job. I mean, you guys reel people in, and you do a great job of talking to each other, making it interesting. And so, as somebody that's not even your friend that watches, you guys do a great job. And you'll also interact with the metal community, the hardcore community, and like going to the shows and doing the interviews and stuff with all the bands, getting them to actually talk to each other. Like, because sometimes at these shows, like they would have never even taken the time to say what's up to each other.
Right.
So it's like you're making a difference with all that. And I feel like your podcast is just going to keep on growing because of that.
Right.
So I think that you guys are doing a great job.
Well, thanks,
Thank you, dude. Appreciate that.
I think we make it a point to extend the olive branch, as it were, to other rock bands or hardcore bands, what have you, because otherwise you're just going to limit yourself so much so that you're going to only have a handful of bands to talk to. And the reality is when you go out to a show, you don't really, as a listener, want to hear 4 bands that sound the same.
Right.
Like last night was a good example of having diversity among the artists. All 4 bands sounded different. And I think when you go out to a show as a listener, you might be there to see one band, but you can still enjoy all the other bands if they play well. If any, even the style that we like you can go out there and not play well and be like, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
You're like, I like metal, but they dropped an egg on us last, so
Right, yeah.
it's good to get all the bands in the room and talk to them, hear what they have to do, no matter what style they are. I just think that having organic, real musicians come through and talk about how they create their art, write, produce, record, all of it is important. And we like to just promote them all, really. I mean, so, yeah.
And under full transparency, and we'll get into the Iron Sharpens Iron, but under full transparency, at the end of the day, it's just like, what value can we bring to the community? And that's what we're doing, It's not, in a bit, it could be a little bit like selfish because, I'm not doing it so you can say, hey, look at me. I'm more doing it like, hey, let's promote these bands or have these bands have some kind of platform to talk about their art because there's not a lot of them out there,
Right.
So and it was kind of cool. Last night I was in line, some dude walks in, he's like, hey, do you do a podcast? Never seen this dude before in my life. He's like, I'm like, I do. He's like, and I was literally just walking in down really, and the guy, I was trying to pay the lady, he's like, man, I love your show, dude. I listen to it all the time.
He's like, yeah, this is
cool
Johnny
as hell.
Sins, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. All right, so I just had to put that little blurb in about the 100th episode. With that being said, we'll push forward here. Once again, thanks for coming on the show, fellas. This will be a little challenging for me because I kind of know all this stuff. I've been involved with this project since day one, even though I haven't been in the project since day one.
Right.
So we'll let you talk about that. I'm going to rely on Nick to kind of maybe, push the conversation forward because it's just kind of weird to ask you questions I already know. It's easy with other bands that I don't.
Right.
But before we even get going, you could start here, and then we'll go to you and just
Name and what you do.
Yep.
Larry Passanier. I'm the one that sings in the band now because I'm lazy and don't want to do anything else.
And I'm Ian Grant. I play bass.
All right. Welcome, guys.
yeah, welcome. And then Adam, he'll be joining us when he wakes from his beauty
Slumber.
sleep. Yeah,
Have we heard back from him? Like,
yeah. He called right at 10. He's like, dude,
I just woke up.
He's like, I could
Jesus
be there in
Christ.
20 minutes. I was like, well, Ian has a hard out at 12, so if you want to join us, you're more than welcome. We'll leave a seat open if you want to come in.
Yeah.
If not, we'll catch you on the next one. He has been on the show, too, because he was on episode 3 as like one of my guinea pigs right in the early days. So
Sent one Maytag sludge.
I wasn't there for that one.
that was like one of the few that Mod wasn't there for. There was a couple, but hey,
Right.
life happens. So.
Wearing these sunglasses like an accessory. Come on now.
And I do want to thank you, Nick,
Oh, yeah.
for showing up today because it wasn't on the schedule, but it kind of worked
Yeah.
out. And I could have did it without you, but I mean, dude, I
almost had to.
want to have you here for
I
as much
appreciate
as we can. So
Yeah. Luckily, my wife changed the schedule around so that she could attend the show with me last night. And I thought she just switched shifts on Saturday, but she actually
She
switched
traded.
both.
Yeah.
Sunday and
that
Saturday.
makes
So
sense. So.
I was like, hey, he wants me to come tomorrow, but no, right? She's like, no, I switched it. You can go. And I was like, oh, sweet. Let's do it.
So it's in the cards.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
All right, cool. So let's get going here. Iron Sharpens Iron. The big thing is we're here to talk about the new stuff that we got coming out.
That's
That's
good.
kind of why you're on the show, but we always go over the, past of Iron Sharpens Iron. So let's kind of start at the beginning and tell us a little bit about your idea behind this, Larry, and how it all started, because you can explain this better than anybody.
Okay. So it started, I was actually jamming with Colt and doing the Dead Horseman thing. and I was having fun, but I just was wanting the right heavy riffs again because, back in the day we were doing Infinite, and I played guitar eventually in that too. So I was like, I really would like to do something with these, and I was irritated with my personal life and everything else, and I'm like, I want to do something heavy. And so I started writing stuff together, and I actually just recorded one song by myself, and I put it out, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to record some new stuff. I'm going to do it with Jay, so I know it sounds good. And so I did everything with that. I wrote all the guitar, the vocals, the drums, and we recorded it, and you perfected it in the studio.
Perfected.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
by a lot.
Sweet.
And then after that, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to get together and see if Adam wants to jam it so I don't have to play drums because obviously I can't practice by myself. And then I eventually lured Jay into playing guitar, and then everything changed from there.
Okay. I'll stop you right there. So we're talking about this first release, The Tragedy of Mankind, right?
Yep.
That's what we're talking about, like when you first started. So
Yep.
this started as a solo project.
Yes.
And that came out on May 24th, 2020.
So
Yep.
5 years old as of yesterday.
Yep.
Wow.
Damn.
That's
Damn.
weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's weird. So weird time to put some music out as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we must have been recording this like back in October of 2019 or something like that.
Yep.
That's where we probably were. Yeah, so I think we were still working on stuff in 2019, or I think that was the same time that Adam was recording drums for the Embrace the Void.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Infinite Design was still active. But what was this, 5 songs, 6 songs? What did we do?
That was only like 3 full songs, then one like small instrumental. And then I
Okay.
did the Minor Threat cover.
Okay,
All
cool.
right.
So you did that, 5 songs, and then the Heavy Hearts for a Hope-Filled Cause.
That was kind of the turning point for the band because I had a lot of mental health issues. And so I kind of went to counseling and stuff, and that's how that became such a big part of our band from the get-go is it helped me a lot and helped me become a better person. And I just realized, like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Mhm.
And so I put that together so it would kind of raise awareness for other people to seek counseling, or at least raise awareness that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And so I talked to all these different bands, asking them if they'd want to be a part of this, donate a track. And of course, all of them jumped on it.
Sweet.
And by doing that, I met a ton of different people just that were super fucking cool. And so that helped cross promote, and that actually gave a lot more awareness to our band in the same light. So Iron Sharpens Iron became more popular amongst people, at least them asking us if, you guys going to play shows. And I was like, well, no, it's just me.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But then we started jamming and started playing more and more and writing more. And then Jeff jumped on board because I was jamming in another band with Jeff. And so he's like, yeah, I'll play bass for you guys. So that made live shows possible. And so, boom, that compilation made it to where we became a full band pretty much.
Okay. And that the song that you submitted for that, was that just like something off of that first
Yeah.
EP basically? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That was where I debuted the Minor Threat cover, and then I just did, I think it was Dehumanized.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, so 2020 is about the time when the project got started.
Mhm.
And solo project at this point. And then I guess it must have been late 2020, early 2021 when I joined up.
Yep.
I think for me personally, I just was sick of not playing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know you and Adam are jamming stuff.
Yep.
And Infinite Design was kind of
Just
under
finishing,
the
finishing up the studio album.
yeah, we were finishing up the record. COVID was weird. Mod disappeared for like 2 years. He was gone. So
I was playing a lot of video games.
yeah.
Well, you're
But yeah, we just,
going to
I mean,
school
we,
too, weren't
Before that.
but we just weren't active and we weren't doing anything. And I'm like, I want to play. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll come play
Right.
in your band.
you? Which was different.
Yeah,
Yes.
because what was weird is when you started jamming with Adam these songs, you weren't even playing any of these songs off of the first EP
No.
because we've never played any of that
Right.
live. That's all
Nope.
just been Larry's thing.
Yeah.
And then you guys were kind of writing some other stuff, and then that's when I stepped in, and then me, I'm like, well, you're gonna have me in the band. Let me write some shit. So that's kind of where the next step came in. But what's Rip Down the Sky?
So Rip Down the Sky is the one I did by myself.
Okay.
So I just wrote some different songs. That one's heavily influenced by like Indiana hardcore. I like Blood In, Blood Out. So it has all those kind of like melodic harmonies and stuff. And I actually recorded the drums just on a really shitty Alesis drum set I had. And so I just recorded everything MIDI, recorded the guitar, bass, and everything just on a computer, mixed it all down and did all the vocals. And then I sent it to Tyler at Undercity Records, and he actually put it out for me.
Oh, okay.
And so then he's the one that also did the music video for Dehumanized and did the Tragedy of Man, or the Aftermath, no, the Tragedy of Mankind.
Yeah.
And so that's how that whole song came out and everything. And then once you jumped in, we started pretty much working on the Aftermath of Tragedy immediately.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, and then, the dynamic kind of changed when I entered.
Yeah.
You and Adam had a few songs, right?
Yeah,
Two
we
or
were like
three.
writing on some stuff. I think we had like 3 songs. And the thing that's weird about the band is it kept on kind of shifting, like as far as like styles go, because at the time I wanted to do a hardcore project, but then I was like, well, I want to do kind of like metal too. And then I fucking just had ADD. So was whatever. So you joined and then you started putting your touch on everything. And I think that's when it all really started changing.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, well, yeah.
Once you get another person in there, especially
yeah.
somebody who's coming from such an extensive metal background.
Right.
Yeah, well, it was always weird because I wanted to approach this project like Infinite Design is a different thing.
Yeah,
and
they sound different.
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
all we've ever done was Infinite Design. So
Right.
that's all I've ever played like was the Infinite Design stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the real metal, technical, real leaning heavy on a lot of notes and depth
Melodic.
and like a lot of melody.
The thing for me when I listen to like the Iron Sharpens Iron and say the Infinite Design, if you go back far enough with the Infinite Design, you can almost hear some of the current Iron Sharpens Iron.
Yeah.
And the way that I get to that is like the Iron Sharpens Iron where Jay's writing, or mostly writing, I assume, right? You can hear some of like the non-melodic or just the heavy punishing riffs.
Yep.
Whereas the Infinite Design, as it went along in the catalog, I was a big proponent of like more melody.
Right.
Like I like heavy naturally, but
Right.
if it's atonal or there's just going to be chromatic riffs, I'm getting bored of that quick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I was like, Jay, like we come from Death and Carcass, Heartwork especially,
Fuck yeah.
where there's like a lot of melody in all of that guitar work. So I just kept pushing for that. So that seemed to be like the direction of Infinite as you move away from that first album. And then you get involved with Iron Sharpens Iron, and now it's kind of like you can work in that wheelhouse again where you're writing just heavy, grooving, pissy riffs, angry riffs that they don't need a lot of melody.
Right,
You can
right.
flash some guitar skill in there, but it doesn't have to sound like this melodious thing, this orchestration that's, weaving in and out of, one rhythm to the next. You just like slap riffs together and they flow nicely. Like, but it's definitely your style still.
Right.
And it fits nicely for Larry's project because it's like the hardcore thing is just adjacent to the metal thing. You're just taking all the heavy riffs and not as much melody. But I mean,
Right.
it's not as though the Iron Sharpens Iron has no melody.
Right.
It's there.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same as when you're writing like a melodic death metal piece.
Well,
It's-
yeah. I mean, you listen to so we've talked about this a few times on the show. We got a new project going.
Yes.
A new Infinite Design record we're working on. It's programmed drums,
Right.
but it's still Infinite Design. But you listen to that, and then you
Yeah.
like listen to this Iron Sharpens Iron stuff. It is almost like
Now they're
completely different.
Yeah, now they're
because
totally
like
different.
now it gives me an opportunity to write all the melodic death metal shit, technical with all the solos and shit that I want. And then when I approach the Iron stuff, if we write something that sounds like it could be Infinite Design, we're usually like, let's not
Right.
do that. Because even when I joined the band, because Larry, since he played guitar in Infinite Design, he's kind of got some of that style too from
Yeah.
all the riffs we played. So
Yeah.
some of the riffs he showed me could almost been riffs that I would come up with because it's just stuff our styles we've melded together over the years,
right.
you know. But anytime we've ever wrote anything for Iron, it's been, oh, that sounds a little close. Like the one song that we don't play,
Yeah.
the super melodic
Yeah.
song. I keep saying that's like an Infinite Design song, but
Right.
it doesn't fit the Iron Sharpens Iron.
No.
It's badass. We love
Yeah.
it,
Right.
but it just doesn't fit what we're trying to
Right.
do with Iron. And
Sure.
now that Ian's in the band and then Jeff's on guitar,
Right.
we've kind of really have an idea of what I want to do with this band, and so does
Yeah.
Larry. We kind of want to get more away from the melodic stuff
Sure.
and more into the hardcore
Yeah.
beat down area,
Sweet.
more groovy, fun.
Write good songs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
just
good songs.
Like have stuff flow. I mean, really think about the vocals. I mean, this is the most I feel like we've written as a band. Like as far as like collaborative,
Mhm.
like as far as riffs go, you know, you'll be like, write something that's, you know, a beat down riff or something that's like this, and I'll work on it. Like like our new song that's going to be coming out, Grasping Straws. You're like,
Come in.
write this kind of a riff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to figure it out. I'm going to sit in the basement for like 5 hours because I want to make sure.
What's up, buddy?
Welcome. Welcome. Good morning.
Morning.
We are joined now
Sir.
by the Eliminator.
By the elimination station.
The Maytag man has arrived.
He got to the chopper.
Yeah, so like, you know, back in the day, I mean, I wrote some stuff for Infinite, but I mainly was just like, I played rhythm guitar because we could never keep anybody. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, at one point I was playing keyboards and rhythm and whatever. It was a lot. But I mean, it helped me become a better musician.
It's good times.
And yeah, absolutely. But now it's like you might have an idea for a song and you're like, try to write something like this. I mean, that's pretty much how Grasping Straws started. You're like, write some kind of a slam or you know, beat down riff, and then I'm gonna take it, perfect it, and then come up with some ideas. And I feel like we've been doing that more and more, and that's really helping our sound. And also thinking about vocals before I even write lyrics, like patterns. What's
Yeah.
gonna make the most sense?
All gang vocals. The whole
Fuck yeah.
All gang.
Well-
I noticed quite a bit of those on the new songs.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
and
We'll get to that.
but I think the thing is it's nice to be able to lean on you for that, because that's more your background, where my
Right.
background is the metal stuff. So it's easy for me to come up with metal shit all day.
Mhm.
And when I say metal, like more of the melodic, technical,
Right.
you know, that type of shit. But for me to come up with a beat down riff, that's way harder. So a lot of times I'm like, Larry, come up with that. Give us a starting out point,
Right.
and then we'll jump in there.
And it's cool now too because it's like we got Ian, and Ian does you do a great job at like just adding stuff, making shit sound cool, and really throwing in like flair on bass. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, that once Jeff moved to guitar and then you moved to the bass, I mean that stepped us up big time.
Yeah,
because
I agree. That's
mean-
my sentiment as well. Like seeing you guys
Yeah.
perform at the Christmas sweater party or whatever with guys at Unruly,
Right.
and also Hoist Fest as well. But both times I could really hear Ian's bass pop out. You got a great tone, and I thought you keep up with these musicians really well. And I was really impressed. I was like, oh, they don't need anybody else. Like they got this guy. Like this is a good move.
Yeah.
Like moving Jeff over to guitar and putting Ian on the bass was good. So you
yeah.
keep up well. You compliment some of the weird harmonics that they do, where it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
But you know,
for sure.
you've got an ear for it. I really appreciated the bass lines I heard this morning.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate that.
we'll dive into the new stuff a little bit more, but this is actually a perfect time for Adam. What's up, Adam? How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good,
Good.
man. Pretty good. So yeah, Grasping Straws. I gotta say that's probably one of my favorite tunes, man. Like I almost feel like it's our Sandman in a way.
Hell
I
yeah.
feel like it's so like it's so well put together, and like all the riffs and everything just like hits you so well, and I just feel like it's just a great, well put together song, you know.
Nice.
And we do, like you guys were talking about, we take our time a lot more now, and especially Jay, with you going back and listening to stuff over and over again. And just because we wrote it doesn't mean it has to stay that way.
Right.
Where I think in the past it used to be we'd put it down and leave it that way. If that's how we wrote it, we'd leave it. We wouldn't really review it that much and try to change things, you know. Where now it's like you listen to it over and over, and does that make sense? Does that sound right? And I think that shows in our newer stuff. Like the songs are much well put together, you know.
You know, it's weird because sometimes you'll come up with a riff, right? And then you'll come up with another riff. And it doesn't always necessarily mean riff one goes before riff two. You know, just because you write it that way doesn't necessarily mean that's the way the song should go. Sometimes
Right.
you'll write something and it seems like it flows and it's good, you know?
right.
But, you know, I came across this this guy talking about like sometimes you just write for the garbage can, right? You know what I mean? Like you're writing something, but it doesn't mean it's great just because you wrote the song and you've been practicing it for 2 months. Like, and I know sometimes when I come to practice and you guys look at me and roll your eyes when I'm like, I got some ideas, and you're like, this motherfucker. Yeah. But I just always think that the results show for itself too. Yeah. Like our songs have become so much better because of the revisions that we're taking and the time that we're taking. Not just, and we scrap songs. I mean, we did that with Infinite Design too.
Right,
I just think it's important not to be married to the stuff like you and I always talk about. Because sometimes, we played it for the last, through 4 months and we haven't changed anything. But then you just kind of listen to it as a whole, and you're like, something just ain't there,
right.
And going back to like knowing what fits in Iron compared to like not wanting to be Infinite Design. Part 2 or whatever. I don't want to be that. I want it to be two totally different things because this is the way you approached it.
Right. And I feel like that's even becoming more prominent with our newer stuff is, Aftermath of Tragedy had some pretty metal things on it, a lot more blast beats and stuff like that. And I mean, had that guitar solo that rips during a couple different songs. And I feel like these newer songs don't really have that as much. It's much more about how the song should be written. Adam, we're approaching everything with you different now too. I mean, I think everything we're going through and you're like, what do you think sounds good? Is that if that's the fill you're going to play, we're going to make sure the guitar sounds good with that fill and locks.
Right. Because there's so many times in the past I might be putting a fill or doing something because I think I'm hearing the riff right, but I'm not hearing the riff how it even actually is.
I mean, we spent a half hour at practice the other day just literally nailing down a fill.
Right.
I mean,
it's just like I didn't quite have it in my head, and it's like I thought I knew what it was, but I'm not actually getting the riff quite exactly how it is.
Right. I mean, and you're playing stuff that's different too. I mean, you're playing technical stuff, but in a different way. You're playing more top stuff. I'd say that's different rather than bottom. Like you're not balls to the wall, playing double kick pedals on over everything.
Right.
Sure. You still got your spots and stuff. But I feel like now with writing and stuff, you're being more creative too. And so I think that that's been kind of cool for all of us, is all of us are just doing kind of different things that we wouldn't have necessarily done before.
So let's, before we really get into this new stuff, so let's just continue to talk about, so Aftermath of Tragedy. I mean, so we talked about Rip Down the Sky that came out in 2021, February. That was just still Larry's solo stuff.
Yeah.
Then we move into Aftermath of Tragedy. And like I said, you and Adam were jamming.
Yep.
Somehow I came over. I was like, I'll jam with you guys because I wanted to jam. You guys are my friends. We've been jamming forever.
You were sad because you were crying in the bathroom because you weren't playing music live anymore. And I was like, bro, wipe those tears off and get over it.
Actually, I think we went to your house for a bonfire, and then I slowly talked you into coming to a practice that week.
Well, I really wasn't doing shit either, so that's the thing. So it kind of worked out. But so we get in. That was about 2021 because the pandemic started to subside. Then we started to get together a little bit more and work on some stuff. Yep. And like I said, you and Adam had like 3 songs. I came in. I pulled the J move. Let's change this shit. Because you had a lot of riff soupy shit going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So when I came in, I was like, man, we got to like structure this shit and like bring something a little more forward to the table. And maybe for me personally, I could get a little too into the A-B riff, but I just like good songs, man. Yeah. I'm down with like kind of venturing out and stuff, and we kind of do that in our music. And on the new Infinite stuff that we're working on, there's parts where it's not just that, but I just think you got to have some kind of structure, and that's just what I'm a fan of. You always make what you're a fan of, right? Like you always write what you want to hear, and I want to hear a hook. Like those bands that we watched last night, they all had hooks. Mm-hmm. Yep. So when they came back, at least I knew the part they were going to sing next, and then it just wasn't a bunch of riff soup. But you kind of had some riff soup going on because you were just trying to shove 10 pounds of monkey shit in a 3-pound bag.
And I was trying to play outside my means.
Right.
And also we didn't have 2 guitar players. I was like, well, it sounds kind of melodic here. What can I do here?
Right.
And so it's like I was doing too much, trying to do too much. And it's like, now I'm like, I'm just going to play these.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Aftermath of Tragedy, you were playing guitar and singing. I was doing some singing, playing guitar, and then Jeff was playing bass. Obviously, Adam on drums. And we put, what is this, 5 songs? 6 songs?
6.
Yeah. So we put these 6 songs together, and I feel like this is the first thing that any band does we're just trying to find our sound. We're trying to find where we fit in. Like, we had some good shows, we had some good sounds, but I just don't feel like we were where we needed to be. I'm proud of this record. I mean, you know, we recorded it here.
Yep.
Mixed it, Under City, or not Under City, but
Bricktop
mastered it. And
you mastered it.
Yeah, I
There's
did.
2 different
I did.
versions.
Yeah, I did a version too. But yeah, it was a good record, and you know, we still play 1 or 1.5 tracks from this.
1.5.
I feel like that's where we kind of started finding our footing too. Is I feel like No Salvation was the first track we did. It was like, okay, that's kind of more the direction we want to take.
Yeah,
and I think that's why that's also the same. Still the same song we play in our shows too. So
you know, during this time or whatever, we put the record out where we play some shows, and I think I step away from the band.
Yep.
I think I was just focused on some other stuff. I had too many irons in the fire, so to speak.
Sure.
And I'm not even real sure why exactly I stepped away from the band, but I just know I was real focused on the production. I was doing a lot of that at the time. I had a lot of other shit going on. And sometimes I just go overwhelmed because I'm doing too much shit. So
this came out, it says, look at here, The Aftermath of Tragedy. You guys dropped it July 1st, 2023. I feel like that's right about the time you and I started getting this thing going.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have been focusing on that a little bit as well.
Well, there was 2 versions. So, right, Larry? Because you put this out twice?
Yes. So what happened, I put out your version first, and then I dropped this one out a little bit later because I was going back and listening to it. I'm like, there's parts of this that sound cool.
Yeah, there's a year's difference between the 2 different releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it was you were getting busy with tons of different stuff and doing a lot of recording, and I think you were recording full time, and you just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
And then after that slowly died down, you guys started getting the podcast going, and then that started blowing up.
Yeah, and then the band changed a little bit.
Yep.
So I was gone, and you were still playing guitar and singing when I left.
Yes.
And then you decided to just sing?
Yeah, so what happened is because I didn't want to play guitar. I like live, I feel like having a lead singer makes a difference for a hardcore band especially. And so that, and I wanted to be able to be in the crowd and giving all I can give as a vocalist, and I can't do that while I play guitar.
Right.
And so Jeff was like, you know, what if we have Brad come and play guitar from Drink Their Blood, because he loves hardcore. I mean, he loves like Incendiary and all those different hardcore bands. And he's like, he always wanted to play in a hardcore band. I was like, well, if you can learn it, then that'd be awesome. We'll just play as a 4-piece. I mean, what's the difference whether or not we're playing as a 3-piece and I'm playing guitar and singing, or if somebody else is playing guitar and I'm just singing?
Yeah.
And so we played our first show with him at Billy's Lounge with Pink Pout and some other cool bands. And then it was after that show, you're like, you know what? I kind of want to jam again and play some shows. And you had that back, and then all of a sudden we were a 5-piece and we had 2 guitar players.
Well, I think the thing was I said something about wanting to play a show, and you're like, you can come jam with us anytime you want. So I was just going to come back in and just learn whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't plan it to be like a thing. I was just going to come jam with you guys.
All right.
But then that snake bite, man, just that fucking venom, you know, as soon as you get that little taste, it just doesn't leave you.
Well,
You're
that
just
was the
poisoned
thing
for life.
when you, because we all got like lunch one day, and you're like, you know, right now I just don't want to do this right now. I need to take some time for myself.
Yeah.
You know, as friends, it's like, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, if you ever want to come back and jam with us, you're always more than welcome.
Yeah.
I'll give a shit if we have 3 guitar players.
Right.
I mean, it's all about making music with your friends.
Right.
And we played as a 2-piece at a show with Kill Tomorrow's CD release, and I think you saw that and you're like, shit, I wish I would have just came with you guys, because that was when.
Yeah, I was like, if you're in that situation, call the motherfucker up.
I mean, I had a string break in the middle of the show and everything else.
You got the fucking ambiguously gay duo over here fucking doing the fucking.
What's funny is that's actually how I ended up here.
Yeah.
Seeing you guys play, you and Colt play as a 2-piece.
Yeah, that's right.
Airline bar or patio.
Yeah, the patio. Yeah,
Yeah, that's when you did the Kill Tomorrow thing.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and same thing with Ian with Colt. We were playing with the 2-piece, and I saw him play with somebody else, and I was like, this dude's fucking solid bass player.
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to come jam with our band, join later? I'm going to talk you into it slowly.
Who were you playing with then at the time? Or is it still the same dude that you're jamming with?
No, I was
or-
playing with a friend's band. It's like a indie rock thing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that was
called,
the thing
it was-
that you and I were talking
yeah,
about.
today and
when you had
tomorrow.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I saw Colt and Larry playing as a 2-piece, and I was just like, not trying to take anybody's place here, but if you
Right.
guys get, got
Yeah.
a show and you want bass,
Yeah.
call me up. I'm happy to sit in.
Yeah,
I'll learn
well-
the songs and play a show with you guys if you need it. So
Heck yeah.
I mean, and I get
now here
that
I am.
because I mean, you see Colt play.
Yeah.
Dude's fucking great.
Yeah.
What Colt does,
Yeah.
he's fucking awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
you're great at the
Yeah.
drums too,
yeah.
especially in the band. I
Right.
love what you guys do, but like just Colt impresses me all the time.
Oh,
he
yeah.
always tries to give me, props like, dude, you shred, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I shred, but I don't like sing and play like you
Yeah.
play, and I
Right,
don't
yeah.
have the balls to go out with a guitar by myself and play in front of people
Yeah.
like you do. Like
Right.
Colt's
that
a
takes a
different
certain
beast, man.
fucking that takes a certain like confidence and balls to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Right.
I need all the distortion to hide,
Hide
I
all
need-
the mistakes.
I need 4 other guys fucking around behind
Yeah.
me. So
Literally.
like,
Yeah, I got to have 4 asses in front of me.
to operate correctly.
Yeah. I got to wax mine just to get Adam to go faster.
But yeah, so then I wasn't in the band. You guys had the 4-piece. You played a couple shows, and then I kind of was like, I'll play a show with you guys.
Yeah.
And then how did that go over in the camp?
That went over great. I mean, fuck. It was,
Depends on who you ask, or
I mean, honestly, that was when we started gaining more traction again. And then we just had some member issues. Brad had some other stuff going on. I mean, I think he had an injury at one point, and then he just pretty much was like, same boat. He's like, I just don't have the time to do it because he was driving from Kalamazoo too, just like Jeff.
yeah.
And so he was like, I'm just going to focus on Drink Their Blood. I was like, totally cool. And so I was like, well, let's see if we can find another guitar player because I don't want to go back to playing guitar after singing and playing just as a singer for a couple of our shows. So then I was like, Ian?
Well, we were looking for a guitar
Yeah.
player when I was back in the band, right?
Yep.
And then the one thing I always didn't understand when I came back in the band, I was like, Brad's playing guitar, but
Mhm.
Brad's a bass player.
Right.
Mhm.
Jeff's playing bass, and Jeff's a guitar player. What the fuck are we doing here? I even said that, I think, in
Yeah.
a group message. I'm like, because I know how well Jeff shreds. I've seen
Right. Oh,
him
yeah.
fucking play all
Sure.
kinds of stuff. And I mean, who doesn't love Jeff? I mean,
Oh,
his
yeah.
names came up so much on this podcast.
Yeah.
Not even by us, because every
Right.
band's like, oh, Jeff did this recording.
Yep.
Jeff
Yeah.
shot this video. Jeff did that.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff is the fucking Michigan music community just as much as anybody else
Oh,
is,
yeah.
if not more, especially all the sound he does and all the
Yep.
bands he knows.
He's also
But-
possibly like just the nicest guy on the
Oh,
planet.
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. He's just always like,
Permagrin.
yeah,
Yeah.
just smiling, laughing. Okay, dude.
Yeah, I mean, dude even did a montage for my wedding. I mean, like, just he does literally everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, and yeah, that was same thing. I was like, well, what do you want to play? And I was like, I'd rather you play guitar.
Yeah.
But they wanted to play something different. I mean, I get it. I was like, well, I play drums in my other band.
Yeah.
I'm singing in this one, so
Sure.
I get it, but I'm just like,
we'd be better.
do what you're best. Do what you're best at. Like you spent all that time perfecting that instrument. We're not like, hey, Adam, can you do some vocals on this for us? Like,
Eagle eyes.
he's like, yeah, all bowls all the time, all Maytag man.
Before we get much further, can I take a piss?
Yeah,
real
go
quick?
ahead.
Yeah, do it.
We'll drill Adam and fucking
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, so then we put out the Aftermath tragedy. Like I said, we recorded it here. We did all that, and then we had the little switcheroo.
A lot of rotating members.
Yeah,
In and out. So they did the show, the Kill Tomorrow CD release party, and that was just a 2-piece. What happened to Jeff? Did he dip too?
Yeah,
He
I
couldn't
don't.
make
I
it?
don't recall. I think he just couldn't make it for that show for some
Right,
reason
so
or
he-
another.
So he never really like quit. He just couldn't attend that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
yeah. Jeff's hard to tie down when he does
Oh, he's a busy man.
his band, and then
Yep.
he's doing sound every weekend. almost.
Recording
I actually texted
everything
him
everywhere.
last night and was like, "Hey, dude, just to let you know, we do have an extra seat. I
Yeah.
know it's a fucking haul at 10 in the morning. You have
Yep.
to be here." And he was like, "I'm actually not doing sound tonight." I'm like, "Well, I'm just extending the invite because I didn't want you to see the episode drop and you not be here, you know. But also, we did the Drink Their Blood podcast, and they just Zoom called in too.
Remote,
so
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was nice to be able to make that switch because I think it was the most natural switch. And then I think somehow we just, you and I were even talking, and you were at first you were kind of like, because I know we had mentioned it, but I swear you were like, man, I just don't know if I have time to be in Sharpens.
Yeah, you don't want to shortchange anybody, and I don't want to jump into something because I want to do it, but then it's actually a detriment to, the group that you join in.
Right.
Because it's like, oh yeah, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't. And it's like, why am I even here then?
Right.
So,
just kidding.
Yeah,
Can't really do it.
Yeah, that's not fair to anybody.
Right.
So.
I mean, you want to say yes to everything.
I do.
Yeah, 100%.
And then I just burn a bridge afterwards.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I can't. Like, one of the things on the table is like, well, we don't do anything anymore, so I'm just going to be out.
Yeah.
But I generally will say yes to 100 things and then just see which one is the most serious.
Yeah.
That's fine by me.
I've always thought that's amazing about you guys doing multiple things because I've never done that. I've always just been one project at a time kind of thing. And I'm like, how do you guys balance it and do that? It just seems so overwhelming,
It's probably a lie we tell ourselves. Like,
I mean, full transparency.
Yeah, we just probably just do one thing at a time, and the other things we just all say that we're in them also, but really, like, only usually one thing's happening at a time. Whatever band is actively meeting is the one I'm really in.
Right.
Everything else is just kind of like if they call me back or if we decide to get together again. But yeah.
I mean, you have to be incredibly organized. I mean, I have
that too.
I have 3 Google calendars.
Yep.
I mean, one, so I don't overbook us or book both of us on the same day.
Sure.
Because you're in 3 projects. So I mean, you're in the duo thing, or with me and Cole. You're with us. I mean, you guys are in 2, and you have a podcast, so you might as well be in 3 bands. And you have a teenager that graduated and you're getting married, so you might as well be in 3 bands too.
Dude, that dude's like in 8 bands.
I say that's just life at that point. But yeah, I mean, you make it work. There's a lot of downtime in between.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me is that's why I don't do a lot of recording and video shooting and editing and all that. And that's why a lot of stuff I'm like, even with the new stuff, I'm just like, let's hand all this off.
Yeah.
Because at some time I will say yes, and I do want to do it all. Like even recording the parts we recorded, that was almost too much because I was super stressed at that time. But I just realized from all the stuff I did before, I'm like, my podcast and then Iron and then job, family, that is the importance of things. So those are the only 2 things I want to do. Right. We have Infinite Design that we're working on, but that's, that ain't anything we're really going to bring to the stage.
No timelines,
right
no
now.
shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
so
whenever you got time for it.
But
when you're juggling bands, I feel like as long as each band is agreed on like what day you can get together,
right?
Like if you do Sundays, great. And if the other band's like, well, we're going to do Tuesdays and Wednesdays, perfect.
Right.
But if everybody wants like the same day or wants to, hey, let's do this gig on this date, this is going to be a big one. And if the other band's got the same idea somewhere else, then that's a problem if you can't get them together at the same venue. But I think it's just a matter of like first come, first serve is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Like we got this offer, so we're going to run with it.
Right.
And so black out the date for the other band, like can't book anything there. Mm-hmm. Just forget about it. I don't care how good it is. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to turn around and say back out of a gig that we were promised to.
Right.
I mean, unless it's
really
huge and they would understand, oh, that's a good opportunity for you to go ahead and do that. We get it.
Yeah.
But generally I think it's kind of a first come, first serve, and just having the 3 calendars if that's what it takes, like, and just constant group messaging, like, hey, like communicate all day long.
We do that pretty well in our group message, and we try not to convolute our group message with memes and all bullshit, because then you're like, what did Ian say back here? You know what I mean? Like, I try not to do that.
2,000 messages ago.
I don't want to do that.
And every band,
memes.
too, is different, too. I mean, like, we practice like clockwork. I mean, we practice every single week pretty much, but it's mainly me, Jay, and Adam, because Ian lives in Grand Rapids, and then Jeff lives in Kalamazoo. So, like, they're not going to be able to drive every single week on Tuesday. And to where with Dead Horseman, we haven't practiced in, what? Months. We play a show, and, I mean, the last time we played a show, we hadn't gotten together before that in, like, 3 months. And that's just because that's the way that band is we can do that. We can't do that.
Well,
you can lean on Colt.
Yep, exactly.
And he's probably playing all the time.
Well,
like at home and just, just staying on.
And I'm playing with clicks and stuff like that at home, so I'm, staying on top of that. But it's just something different about being almost in a near jam band versus a hardcore band.
Yeah. And not to downplay the skill set in Colt, because Colt himself is like the package, right? He's the guy, he's the singer, he's the guitarist, he's the melody, he's the focal point. You guys are bringing a rhythm section to like a rock and roll band.
Right.
If you stay at home practicing your parts, like you can kind of show up and do like one rehearsal before a show and kind of dial it in. And maybe there's parts that are harder than others, what have you. So you practice them at home and kind of go over them a little bit at the last minute rehearsal. But when you're in a metal band and everything's just kind of like flying nonstop, that requires a lot more get together, a lot more like, hey, stop. We gotta iron that part out.
Yep.
That's got to be smoother with this transition. Like when you're playing 4 or 5 guys at max volume in a room. You have to be
and I've always felt that with metal, like that once a week, us getting together is absolutely mandatory to at least be able to still maintain and play at a mediocre level at best.
Right.
Like two, if we did twice a week, then we'd like even be better. But like for me, like that's one day a week. I need at least that to be able to just play the stuff still. You know?
And
the 2 a week is intense.
And that's not even talking about just the, we've talked about with so many other bands on the show. It's kind of like you going golfing.
Yeah.
Like I'm going golfing with the boys on Saturday. Well, I'm going to band practice with the boys on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We're just going to go. We're going to hang. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to get some shit done. We're going to feel accomplished, but we're going to forget about the outside world and we're going to do what we do as musicians. But I just want to take a step back real quick. When Adam, you were talking about, you don't know how, people do a lot of different things. I think the thing is when you're just so creative and you like so much different music, you have so many outlets. There's so many things you want to do because you're like, even with the 2 projects that I'm doing right now, it's 2 different things like we talked about. But then you got like the Cult project with you guys, which is, there's some hard rock stuff going on there, but it's not even close to what we're doing as xIron Sharpens Iron. So it's like, it's just that different creative outlet. And I guess if it works, it works. But I'm also not, before I might have been a little sticker like, oh, everybody needs to be here. Well, our guitar player lives in Kalamazoo. And at this point, and you live South Grand Rapids. So it's kind of like one of these things where, you got to give and take a little bit. But I know anytime I've ever played with Ian, he's even filled in with no practice one time at the patio show. And he fucking jammed. That was before he was even in the band. So it's like, I know I have confidence in Ian that he's going to come prepared. Like we have a practice on the 31st. Like I know he's going to have all the new stuff that all the changes. I know he's going to have it ready because he came in. And I've also seen him in the studio twice now, and he comes in and rocks his fucking shit out like point on. So it's like I have faith in Ian,
Sure.
And Jeff's the same way. I know he's practicing stuff. He's ready. He's a little more busy than all of us because he's got so many things he's doing. But he'll come ready. And I know at the end of the day, none of us want to look like dumbasses when we play. Like mistakes happen, but none of us really want to fucking look stupid up there, especially with we're not playing the most technical shit, but we're also not playing like easy shit either. You know, there's still a lot of things.
I feel like it's a lot more emotion now, I think, when we're playing than mechanical. I feel like when we were playing before, I had to think a lot more. Like I was like,
Are you talking Infinite Design or
even Iron? Like when we were doing like, Deception of Escape or Silence's Violence and stuff like that. Like I'm tremming and trying to sing a lot more, and you were blasting a lot more too, like or just doing a lot more like off the wall kind of beats, and to where I feel like now it's a little bit more like, let's feel this, let's really get into it, and then I want the people watching us to feel what I'm feeling. And I feel like we're able to portray that more with the way that we're going about it now.
And I'll say this too. I just want to, just because we're getting everything on wax today, a lot of times, Larry, you downplay yourself as a guitar player too, but like you held your own in Infinite Design all those years. And then like a lot of the times when Brad was in the band, and I Brad's a bass player and he plays guitar. But the times, like, you hold it down on guitar at practice when we're writing and everything, so it makes it so we know what 2 guitars sound like, so we're not always doing vocals at practice. It's always like me and Larry playing guitar, Adam playing drums, so we can get through the set, whereas that will probably change because we got the show coming up, and then I'll just play guitar at practice. Right. But, like, me and you always sounded tighter than me and Brad ever did. But me and Brad only had 4 times we've ever got to play together, and 2 of them were on stage. So it's just that chemistry that me and Larry have been playing together for so long that, like, we always sounded tighter together, I thought. But it is what it is. But if you don't want to play guitar,
Right.
then that puts us in a position where, when you look at those old shows, we were super tight, like the old ones, but there isn't a whole lot of movement on stage either, so just a little bit that I can do in between singing.
I mean, our first show was insane. I mean, because our first show was the Skeletones opening show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was going to be us as a 4-piece, and you got COVID.
Yep.
And then, so it ended up just being me, Jeff, and Adam. And I was pissing my pants the whole time because I'm like, I got to play as good as Jay.
Well, I think a lot of credit for all of it has to go to you, Jay, for doing all the demos and tabs and making sure that's always updated. Because, like, I couldn't come as well rehearsed as I do if I didn't have that stuff, if I didn't have demos to sit and just learn, and I can work out my parts. And because I believe in, like, when you leave the practice room or you leave a show or whatever, you're still in the band. So I do as much work away as I can, too, to make sure that, and, you're doing the same thing when you're coming up with all these demos and things. So it makes it much easier for everybody to come prepared and absolutely maximize the time you do have when you get to rehearse and everything. That's why, like, we're all able to show up and just be tight because we've all been rehearsing to the same demos and everything.
Yeah,
so we're just
that's huge. I think
that's massive.
We beat that drum all the time in this room. Like, record your practice sessions or make one of the practice sessions like a dedicated demo day where you're like, all right, we're going to do our best today for a demo's sake. And that way everybody's at home practicing to the same thing so that when we get together, it'll sound even tighter. And also, like Ian is saying, when you tabbing out the music for somebody, because you never know.
Right.
Right. And like, hey, I can't make it, or hey, something's come up in my life, I got to bow out. Then you got all the source material on, like, you've got the demo sound, and then you've got, the sheet music to hand off to somebody, like, hey, how quickly can you learn this? We need you in like 10 days. Can you get it?
Yeah.
Or 2 days. You got 2 days. You got 48 hours. Here it is.
Yeah, what we did to Nick.
I was just going to say, speaking of that.
I was jamming them nonstop. Yeah. But I'm glad Ian could make it, because Ian, you sounded way better than I was going to sound. Like I was going to sound okay, but Ian sounds way better.
But shit, though. I mean, still, though. I mean, thank you for dedicating your time on all that.
It was fun. Exactly. It was fun. I was rocking out. I was standing up, just going ham. Yeah.
Well, I know how bad Nick wants to get on stage, so I'm like, man, this is an opportunity for Nick to get back on stage, and he's going to bring it if he gets on stage. Even if the bass lines were a little bit dumbed down, at least you had the notes and shit. I knew you could do it. But
I had damn near an anxiety attack the day of Hoist Fest because like everything was getting set up, and I was like, I'm glad I'm not even playing. I'm so glad I'm not playing because I'm like the thought of it, like more people are filing in, and I'm like, holy shit! As this, like, there's already like 50 people here and nothing's happened yet. Yeah. So I was thinking about how many more people were going to be in that room watching me play, bass lines I just learned 24 hours ago. I was like, that's okay. I don't have to actually play. The thought of it just had me panicking for a minute. I was like, I'm so glad I'm not doing this today. But it would have been fun as you guys got on stage and I'm rocking out right up front with you. I'm like, oh, this would have been fun. Like the nerves kind of subsided. I never have like anxiety before a performance. I'm excited to do it. I'm looking forward to it. It's like what I'm supposed. It's my purpose. It's my calling. And then just in that moment, though, I was like, oh my God, I can't do it. Not enough preparation. Right. I think that's where the anxiety comes from. Is just the thought of like, not enough prep. Didn't get to practice this like I wanted to, but as I was watching you guys, I'm like, yeah, these riffs, fuck yeah. They were in my head like nonstop from the day before. So I could see you guys having fun. I would have had fun with you too, ultimately.
Yeah, so Aftermath of Tragedy, we go through that, band changes up, and then like in between you did covers, right?
Yeah, so
you made it all about you again.
I did.
Jeez.
Well, you see, we have a problem with our band. We've talked about doing covers at least 15 times, and then we never fucking agree on one. We played one Hatebreed cover, and but other than that, we're like, let's cover Machine Head. Let's cover Alice in Chains. Let's cover all these. And then we never figured, I was like, well, I want to record these songs because these are all bands that influenced me.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, love Glassjaw. Glassjaw is a band I've been listening to since I was like 15. Terror, I would say, influences us in different ways for our band because they got some metallic riffs and shit like that, and vocally, big time. And then Foo Fighters was just to have fun. But like, I was like, I'm gonna do this and have some fun recording these, and just do something, put it out for fun while we're recording or while we're writing all these newer songs and perfecting them.
Mm.
It was something to put content out, have fun doing it, and then just pick the songs because none of us could agree on any. So I just, it was something to have fun, and I think it worked. A lot of people really like the Glassjaw cover.
That's cool.
Yeah, you know, the Hatebreed one and the Terror one, those were recorded way back when, too.
Yeah.
They weren't even on the same session that we did Foo Fighters and the Deftones.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the Deftones
and
one.
Glassjaw. Yeah, those, because I think we only did, oh, no.
Yeah, Glassjaw, Hatebreed, Foo Fighters, Minor Threat, Deftones, and Terror.
Yeah, it was you're right, though. We did the Hatebreed and Terror one earlier.
Yeah, and the Minor Threat was the other one that you did.
I did the
right?
Terror one actually for a compilation that was for No Kill Shelter. And so that was what that came out with. And then I just put all these on the same ones, so everything was on the same EP instead of people having to search for them everywhere.
You guys dropped that February 2024, so that's just a little over a year ago now.
Yep.
Yeah, so that right there is, that's, at the end of the day, it's still Larry's band. Well, I always call it Larry and the Cruisers. You know, so. We're just the Cruisers. Larry's and that's cool with me. You know,
I mean,
that's completely fine. I mean,
that brings us up to what we're on now, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And how many songs is the new release going to be? Just what you sent me, or is there more?
Well, we can talk about that because things have kind of changed. So
yeah,
okay,
go ahead, Larry.
So there's the single that we're going to be dropping, which is Grasping Straws. We did a music video for it and everything. Nick from the Credit Union was really cool and let us use his space.
Sweet.
He was just on your show a little while ago.
Yep.
Super cool dude. But yeah, we filmed a whole entire music video there. DIY. So I've been struggling. It's been a fucking journey trying to get that together. And then Jeff shot a lot of stuff. Terry from Sensorium Arts.
Yep.
And then Brett Bouchard came and took a bunch of behind the scenes pictures and everything. So that's going to be the first song. And then we also have another song. It's going to be coming out called Dark Matter. That's Keto from Accuser of the Brethren on it.
Sweet.
And that's slams.
Nice.
And then we have another song called Fade Over Futility. And that has Luke from Reinventing Yesterday, and Brent from If He Dies all doing guest vocals. And, they're all our old homies. I mean, my first show was with Indrid and If He Dies, He Dies. So that was a come to full circle kind of moment for me to have them guys in the same room and on a track with us.
That'd be awesome.
Those two songs, it's kind of up in the air as when they will drop. But we're talking to a good friend. I can't really say because I don't know if they're going to announce it yet. But we're going to be doing a split with a brother band that we're really
band
good
that's
friends
been
with.
on the show.
Yeah,
for
bands.
you internet sleuths.
Heck yeah. and when I say brother, man, I mean I lived at his house when I was going to college. Awesome dude.
Big tip.
Big tip. Actually, I think I was the one with the big tip in that relationship. But and he makes some great omelets too. But
you might as well say his fucking name at this point.
The big tip makes omelets live together.
It rhymes with Terry. But they're going to be doing a split, and we're going to be doing some shit with them. I believe Jeff is going to be recording them as well, because, Jeff records everybody.
Yeah.
Recording that band to do their split.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, our songs are already done.
Right.
So, but just, I don't mean to interrupt, but just so we're very clear, this podcast comes out today. Our video and new song will come out this Friday.
This Friday?
The day that this comes out.
Oh, okay. I saw you. I was like, damn, bro.
We're live.
It's
We're
like a
live.
couple weeks.
Yeah, we're live right now.
Yeah.
We're streaming as you didn't know we're live. We're live.
Yeah. No. So we're in May. It's May 25th right now, but this drops on June 3rd, and we talked about dropping that on the 6th, June 6th.
Thinking that we want to do that.
Just making
That's what we
plans right
talked
here right
about.
now.
Oh, okay.
Move it
So
to the 13th
I
because it's
just-
a week before we have a bunch of shows.
So I just lied.
Yeah, that's
But
okay.
yeah, that was the original plan.
It was,
So-
and then with DIY stuff, you kind of find your way with everything because you're doing new shit. I mean, that's kind of what it was with this recording. We went to someone new to record the drums, and we learned a lot of stuff with that.
Ross Morgan from
Ross.
Dangerville Podcast.
And awesome dude. He goes way back with all of you guys.
Yep.
Nick, you played in his band a
Yeah,
while ago.
I stepped in and played some bass with Holloway for a few shows. It was good times.
And so he's
Great musician.
And you had more
Yeah.
than 48 hours to get prepared for that.
but Ross is like a perfectionist, especially
Yes.
when it comes to his own music. He'll like browbeat you. He'll be like, you need to clean that up. So he just has no problem like
Really?
setting it. Oh yeah, he has no problem setting an expectation for somebody. Like
Good.
yeah, like he's
Good.
so that probably carries over into the studio. I don't know if he's like a different person in the chair, but like when you're jamming with him in the room, he'll call something out. He's not a hard ass about
Yeah.
it, but he'll be like, yeah, this part you need to clean up.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he did a great job with like tones and cymbals. Actually, I think Adam, you ended up buying 2 cymbals from him that day.
Yeah, I bought a new pair of hi-hats from him because I used his hi-hats and I was like, damn, these are sweet. And then he's like, oh, I got 2 of them. You want to buy one? I'm like, fuck yeah.
And so, I mean, we recorded drums with him for the first time, and so that was kind of learning for us because
drums sounded good too, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was all Jay and figuring things out with that. As far as after we got that from Ross, figuring out how to do the rest of everything to those drums.
Yeah.
And so then after that, we sent everything out to Jamie King to get mixed and mastered. You know, Jamie King's a beast. You know, he's done everything for BT Bam, Glass Casket, and
Infinite
so
Design.
Wretched.
right, Infinite Design. He mastered. I think he mastered
Couple of our albums.
2 or 3 of them.
Wretched. He's done
Yep,
that band.
Okay.
I mean, and if you go far back, I mean, he did like Beloved, all of the awesome 2000s hardcore metalcore bands.
Mm.
But like that was a learning, and that's how it was with the music video too. So we shot the music video for Grasping Straws. I was like, sweet, I'll be able to edit this. I edit things no problem. I realized my computer couldn't handle the program. Had to get a computer from Jeff because Jeff has 15 computers.
Wow.
The computer wouldn't update the program. I had the jack pry into this fucking computer
Jesus.
to download. I mean, so it took like 2-3 weeks to even get the stuff to be able to edit this music video.
Mm.
And so it's been learning a lot with these songs. And so I feel like from here on out, we're really going to know our shit because we tried something new and now we're going to be able to perfect it like we do everything.
Well, so we recorded the drums with Ross and then
Yep.
did everything else here.
Yep.
We did the vocals, guitars, and bass here. And I thought we got great tones out of everything. Well, Jeff did his guitars and sent them to me. So it was kind of a partial DIY thing.
Okay.
But I didn't want to do it all, obviously, because I didn't want to tear down the podcast room. And then I am to the point in my production career where I have people ask me all the time too, like, hey, you used to record? I'm just like, I don't want to fuck with it really. There's other guys, Addison Eilers.
Yeah.
There's other guys out there that are just on top of their shit and doing it. I can do it good enough to get us something good, but like I'd rather just outsource all that. Like even with a video next time, like we're just gonna send it to somebody else or if I'm gonna do it, just give me all the footage and I'll have it done in a couple days. But I can't use weird programs like we're trying to use some other program or whatever. So
when we're dealing with proxies, I mean, just things like that are over my head. I'm starting to understand more, but it's just one of those things, you know. And we recorded everything, and so now we're finally through that. But pushing ahead, these other songs will be released on the split with this other band, and we've played shows with them, with Perry, and so yeah, that's going to be sick. And then we already have a bank of new songs after that as well.
So are we looking at just like 3 singles coming out? So not a release necessarily.
No,
Are you gonna double back
time.
and slap them on something later, or not sure?
I'm not sure. We'll see how the next batch of songs. Because personally, I would like to do like a EP next.
Yeah,
like a 5-banger, and we could maybe release 1 and just have the whole EP come out, or even if we want to do 7 or 8 and do a whole like full length. I know that's a lot of work, and the amount of money that's a bad thing. We've always done everything ourselves because it's the money involved.
Sure.
You know, drums didn't cost that much. It was like $400 for 1 day.
Right.
But that was 1 day and 3 songs.
Right.
Yeah.
Could have we been way more efficient? Fuck yeah. And we learned that. Like there was so much more we could have done with that day than what we did. A lot of the day when that situation is just setting up mics and all getting tones. You know, that's pretty much most of the day. Adam played very little. Like honestly, I mean, he played a lot, but like at the end of the day, when the day was over, the amount of playing compared to the amount of tone chasing was
well,
very
we were there
small
like
percentage.
10 hours, and maybe I played 3 years.
Probably 3.
Yeah.
I mean, and mad props to you too, because I feel like this recording has also changed your entire setup, and I feel like has helped too. I mean, you went from recording with 2 kick drums, and now you're playing with a single kick drum and a double kick pace, and you also threw triggers kind of away so you can mic the kit.
Yeah, definitely a new learning experience for me after years and years of doing it one way to, try and branch out and try something different. So, yeah.
I mean, and I feel like that's helped a lot of things too. And so, I mean, this whole recording process has, I think, helped us as a band learn a lot of different things.
I think a lot of it too is like, we're stuck in old ways because we've only done it a certain way, right,
Yep.
Adam? Like, this is the way we've always done it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to...
Especially me, man. I'm the guy that needs people to change me up because I am such a hard routine person. Like, when I lock in stuff, I just do it over and over again. And I'm very hard to try new things a lot of times. So,
well, I mean, that's cool that with our band, we have good, open, honest communication about, hey, Adam, we need to tighten this up. We need to change this part. We need to dumb this down. And we need to get away from, like, we're not in the crazy world of infinite design where everything has to be ceiling skill pushed at all times. We, like, almost have to go the opposite way and unlearn all that stuff. Like, we're not trying to do that in this band. And I think we're finally to the point that we're figuring that out. Because technically, I mean, this band's been around since 2020, so 5 years. But like really, 2021 we've been active. Then with me leaving, we'll just say that was almost just a spot in the band where nothing. Because you guys didn't do much but shows. You didn't write anything.
Shows.
You didn't. I mean, you were starting to, but there was nothing really happening.
No.
So, I mean, overall, like the trajectory of the band, it really hasn't been that much time. So I think we're finally getting in where we need to go. But a lot of that too is like, dude, let's just stop carrying around 2 kick drums, bro. Like, that's a lot of fucking shit we got to carry around.
Yeah,
especially with Adam, like he's like trying to cram everything in his car and all that. So it's
and for sound too. It's like, we had issues. We played a show at Mulligan's and something went out with your triggers. We played at Unruly, something went out with your triggers, and then they're like, here's one microphone. We're like, what the fuck? So they're like, let's get rid of that completely. I mean, now it's like we could go jam in the middle of the street if we wanted to, as far as drums go, and it don't fucking matter. And
less is more. We see that a lot here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's kind of the whole point of this band, I think.
Yeah.
Is like sometimes we got to remember that. It's just the less is more. Yeah. It makes things easier.
Yeah, and it is challenging when you look at things different like that. It's like, I just gotta hold the beat here. Don't do a fill or don't do don't start doing all this shit.
Yeah, don't lose it. Just keep it on the tracks.
Sometimes.
Oh, and me too. Like with Infinite vocally, it was always how extreme can I be? How different can I do my vocals?
Right.
And with our newer stuff, I'm trying to do that in spots.
Yeah.
Like, you're hearing Grasping Straws, I'm doing some kind of, I would say almost carcassy kind of vocals in spots, or like Dying Fetus-y kind of stuff. But I'm not doing it a whole bunch, and I'm still trying to enunciate and try to make sure that you understand what the vocals are, because that's the whole point of hardcore, is delivering the vocals.
The message.
Right, the message.
Yeah.
And it's the emotion you push through.
Yeah.
So even for me, I'm trying not to be too overbearing and sing over every fucking riff, because
there's a lot of good patterns in there.
Well, I was going to say,
there's a lot of diversity still vocally on the new songs.
I was going to say, that wouldn't fly in my band anyway, unless until me and Adam get our fucking gore grind band up and going. But we're just gonna hire that dude with the juice box for our band. Just sucking out a Capri Sun till it's gone. Them are the vocals I want.
Yeah,
I want that tropical sun.
tropical sun.
Yeah, so I mean, we got the single coming out. We'll drop the 2, but I think for us, we want to have something in the chamber to like just consistently be going. The other issue is like we haven't been consistent with shows, and I think for our band, with everybody that does a bunch of stuff, like I'm cool with not like driving and doing shit in the winter necessarily. I think that's writing, recording, getting, that. So I want to get on that kind of schedule, but I also want to be ready to like at least try to play one show a month just to stay relevant. Because like if you're not playing shows, what's the point of the band? I mean, we can all get together every Tuesday and fucking wank off in the room and write new riffs, but if we're not actually out there on stage and and a lot of times I get this FOMO shit because we have a band in here every Sunday and we're playing this show and I'm just like, fuck,
like,
dude,
eat my fucking heart out.
Yeah, we're going on tour and fucking blah blah blah, and I'm honestly, I just want to play one show this month.
I don't think I've touched the stage in about 3 years, so I'm dying. But
well, maybe we need to have 2 bass players. Or
move over, Ian. My solo.
Nick, you want to beat the secondary vocalist?
My
and do
bass
some
solo.
despised icon shit.
No, we'll just do Ian, you have the top 2 strings. Nick, you get the bottom 2.
Get that 9-string bass.
Oh.
It's good
But
bass
I-
harmonies.
I feel like now though, even for shows, is probably the best we've been set up because now we finally kind of know each other too. Because like we said, you're busy with doing your stuff and just life. I mean, Adam, congratulations.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
getting married, so I mean, you got that going on, and so I mean, learning all of that. So now I kind of understand how to book us too. So I mean, now we got 2 shows coming up this month. One on my birthday at Papa Pete's in Kalamazoo with Implicator, Beheading the Icon, a couple of other sweet bands too. And then the very next day we're playing Mulligan's Pub with Black Temple, Coyote, which are a really sick band from Grand Rapids, and then Sticky Rat, which are another sweet band.
Okay.
And then next month after that, we're playing in Indiana, which is our very first out-of-state show.
All right.
And doing some an awesome show there at Guy Foreman Theater, I think it is.
All right.
And that's a sweet
George Foreman Theater. It's just
George
a bunch
Foreman.
of grills in there. Fucking
the healthiest show you've ever seen.
just grease traps everywhere in that bitch. George Foreman Theater.
And we're actually getting to play with the band we played before at that mental health festival, Knee Deep in the Dead. Those guys are fucking sick. So that'll be cool. And then I believe it's later on that month as well, or the following month, we get to play Lansing for the first time at the Jolly Llama. And then it hasn't been announced yet. But
You
then
mean at the Jolly Llama for the first time, right?
Oh, yeah.
'Cause we played Max and Lansing.
Yeah, that's
before,
right. Yep.
Yeah.
That 420 comedy,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck show that was.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We did a show at Max Bar on 420.
Yeah.
And obviously it wasn't like we're not advocating like, oh, we're
Right.
here to smoke a bunch of weed or something.
Right.
This was before Ian was in the band, but it was like last year. And they put us in this weird fucking spot because they had
Yeah.
like comedians too. And it's like anytime you have any live music and comedians, this is never going to mix.
Yeah.
Like you either have have to have a comedy show or a rock show. And the other bands were like punk rock bands.
Yeah, I mean,
And then there were like comedians in between. Then they put us on, like, and everybody's staring at us. So like, what the fuck just happened? Because we just go up there and basically play next to
Just pummeling
death metal.
people, yeah.
right.
After some dude's like,
Telling
yeah,
jokes.
I think I'm a juggalo. Or like, what the fuck are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like, I didn't laugh one time.
And
but
it was weird too because I mean, like, so one of the bands playing too are all some of our homies. Like He Who Dwells was
yeah,
playing.
so that was the time that I was talking to He Who Dwells when they were on the show.
Yeah.
That was the time we played with them, but we didn't actually play with them because
Right.
then, like, after we played,
another
they had-
comedian came on.
yeah, they had like more comedians and stuff, and then they had like the heavier bands later. I'm like, why did you put us in the middle of the fucking
And
show?
actually,
Yeah.
somebody reached out to us earlier this week. Fit for a Treason, I think is the name of their band. They played that show too, and they wanted us to play Mulligans, but it was the week before we're already playing
Oh
Mulligans.
yeah,
But like same thing. And then Farrowin would played, and Lauren and all of them are super fucking cool dudes.
yeah.
And all of them are like, yeah, this would have been cool, but like we're all having an hour between each other's sets,
Yeah.
and it's in Lansing,
Lose steam.
and so
And
it's
that's
like,
the problem.
Yeah,
you know?
like you listen to a band and you're 15 minutes tops. That's as much as I want to wait to see the next band. But then you
Right.
have somebody go up there and talk to me. I'll say this: anytime I'm out to see a band play and anybody's on stage talking, I'm like, wrap it up right now. I don't care. Like whatever you're saying, I don't care.
Right.
Like just say the band name and get the fuck off the stage
Right,
because
right.
like it's so hard to sit there and like there's ambient noise. You know, there's just all kinds of things happening, random conversations, and one person's on a microphone talking.
Right.
I never really even hear words so much.
Yeah.
As just,
Yeah.
just get the fuck out. Like people need to have more like awareness about speaking on stage. Like if you're a singer between songs, I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
Like, I barely care. Like I'm just like whatever you're saying right now can't be that important. Otherwise, it would have music behind it.
that's how we use samples.
Yeah, samples are
Yeah.
better than
Yeah.
anybody talking. So if a comedian's on stage between bands, I'm probably like at the bar or in the bathroom or outside, like not listening.
That's kind of
because-
what we were all
Yeah.
doing that whole time.
We're
Larry and
getting
I
food.
took off. Yeah, Larry and I went and fucking got food somewhere, and we were just hanging out and stuff. But yeah, and it's weird. It's always the guy that's never kind of like knows how a mic works that he has to
Right.
get on
Yeah.
stage
Oh,
to
you
talk
got it.
to. So it's like
Over
there's just
here.
loud ass music, and then you're up there and you're like, yeah, make sure you buy a raffle ticket. whatever the fuck they're saying.
Just kills me.
Yeah,
But so
every
we got
time.
that, and then we also have. So we're playing Lansing with that sweet show. I'm not sure who else is on it yet, but it's at the Jolly Llama, and they're an awesome venue, all DIY. some of the people from Dropped at Birth run it. So they're all really cool bands. We played with them before a couple times. And then we're going to be playing a sweet show in Kalamazoo. They haven't announced it yet. But I know one of the bands that we will be playing with is Bronson Arm.
Sweet.
And they're, as you guys know, amazing. Yeah.
They're great. They're good fun.
They're awesome.
So you guys got these singles that are coming out one after the other in time. And you got some shows coming up. That seems to be the plan for now.
Yeah.
Play some shows through summer. Are we looking at hunkering down for the fall and the winter to get into back into the studio for more new songs? Because you say you got some in the bag, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And then you probably try to potentially squeeze those out in the spring or the summer next year?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd like to do. I'd like to have them like ready to go early spring next year, whether EP, 5 songs. I think that would be a good little drop because we have like the singles to get us through this year. So we're putting out content. I want to do some playthroughs. Larry and I really want to just like throw a bunch of shit out there and see what traction we can get with these 3 songs.
Yeah.
And then we've streamlined the process now, so we kind of know what we have to do in the studio.
Right.
I would do everything the same way. We can record everything here, do the drums at Ross's again.
Yep.
We're going to approach the drums a completely different way. I'm going to be more in the helm of producing this time, as far as like I'm really going to be, because I was just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah.
In the studio, letting Ross do his thing, let Adam play the drums. But then when I got the drums back, I was like, I should have been more in control of like, dude, it's not really on with a click right there, Adam. Let's go back. Ross was kind of having him play full songs through. I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. We're just doing part by part to make sure it's perfect because it's for the record. We've always done that. This whole like digging through, because I had to dig through like 7 different takes and put all these different takes together. And that's what we learned. We're never going to do that again.
Right,
I would record with Ross again, but I will be like, Ross, you guys can engineer, but I'm gonna produce because I'll hold Adam accountable and be like, Adam, dude, that's not on with the click. Let's do that part over. Yeah. Sometimes we would just go by that part.
You got a Michael Stellum of that shit. You're like, it's not perfect.
Yeah,
do it again.
Well, and the thing that made it hard too is the way that the kicks were recorded on the listen back. We couldn't hear them in the room.
Yeah, we couldn't hear.
So because he was just recording the signal from the triggers. And so that was going through, and so
see, this is my sus face,
right? And so we're like we couldn't even tell. So digging through, it's like you're digging through all these ones that are different signals and shit, and you would have probably said something if you just noticed certain things in the actual room. So that's just another thing we learned.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Adam's performance was still great. It was just the fact that there was parts that was like that could have been a little bit better if we would have just chunked that part. Like, and that's what we all do nowadays anyway.
Absolutely.
That's how we record now. That's what everybody does. There's nobody in there like, I played all 6 minutes, unless you're like Lord Marco or some shit. But that's very few dudes that are doing that. We're like perfecting this one part and then we're moving on to the next, because it's a time thing too. Like we're not, we sat there for a long time. We could have actually got more songs done in that little bit of time. But next time we'll do 2 days. We'll set up one day. The next time we'll come in and we'll just rock out the 5. But yes, I do want to have something next year, like a chunk of songs. Because we always talk about like, I hate singles.
Yeah.
But here we are putting singles out because but it's just it's just a game you got to play.
Yeah, whatever makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to have some songs ready. But I think at this point with what we have, we're ready to play shows at any time, and that's what I like about it. Like we'll have a good solid set now that of the songs we know we're going to play, we love to play. So if a show does come up, we don't have to say, no, we're fucking doing this, that, and the other thing. We're not quite ready, because I felt like that's what we've been doing for the last year. We haven't quite been ready, but yeah, we got some new songs. We've wrote probably fucking 10, 12, 14 songs for this project.
Yeah.
Because there's songs we've ditched, there's songs we've changed multiple times. I mean, it's just been one of those things and a lot of that just has to do with like, let's get the best possible product and let's not sound like Infinite Design in any capacity. You know?
Yeah. And let's not sound too different. I mean, it's like, I'll be listening to something like, I'm like, I fucking want to write a terror song, or then I'm listening to Dying Fetus, and I'm like, well, just because I wrote a riff, like I said before, doesn't mean it fits with our stuff. Right. And I mean, we've been critiquing stuff. We've ditched that one song. And I mean, there's other songs like these newer ones that I really think we found our footing, and it's like, this is heavy, but it's not too over the top technical, but it's also not boring. Yeah. So it's like just finding our footing with that kind of stuff, and then having Ian be able to be like, okay, we know that this is going to be sick, having just bass like chugging right here and things like that. So it's like now with all these new songs, I really think that we found our footing, and now we can actually play out, and we like all the songs we're playing. We're not like playing any songs. We're like, well, that's a filler song, so we haven't got enough material.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
you guys got like your live set. It's bankable. You can show up and do that. And then we're also writing in the practice space too.
Yep.
Or we're writing at home and we're just kind of bringing new ideas.
It's a little bit of
Both.
everything.
Yeah.
See, we wrote a batch of songs, and like I'm Captain Change a lot, so I don't know. It's just sometimes it don't sit with me, man.
Right.
It's just like I can sit on the song for a little bit, and I'm just like, it's just not what it needs to be. I just
Sure.
feel like there's something I'm personally going for with this
Yes.
band, with
Yeah.
this what we're doing here. I'm personally trying to go for something.
right.
And I'm trying to accomplish that. I know Larry is too, with some of the riffs he brings to the table. And for me, that opens doors because I don't write riffs like Larry because I don't
Sure.
I'm not involved in that world.
Right.
I'm more of the technical guy, right?
Yeah.
So there's just something I'm trying to achieve with this band, and we're starting to get there. I feel like with these tunes. So Ian, let me just ask you, like where are you at with all of this? Because I know some of your other projects. I know you're into heavy music, but like, tell me how you feel about like these 3 songs, recording them, writing them, and then just dealing with all the bullshit process that I put you guys through with all the changes.
No, I think the changes are great. And I think one of the absolute best things about the record is it's the production level is really high, but sometimes when you get really high production levels, it starts sounding artificial,
right.
like way too produced. And like I think the balance between like tweaking, getting everything sounding really good, and just sounding like manufactured is like perfect. It's like it's tight. It sounds great, but it doesn't sound like it's fake. So
Yeah.
No,
yeah, that's
I thought
been
the guitar tones sounded raw, but not demo raw.
Yeah.
But they didn't
Right.
sound like too overly produced.
yeah, absolutely.
And I thought the drums sounded like full and definitely not programmed. Like even if they were, what do you when you go
Like edited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't sound artificial or drum machine like at all. It
Yeah.
sounded like a real drummer in the room and just rich and full. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. The guitars weren't overly polished. They did have a bit of a hardcore grit to them. So I was like, yeah, this tracks. This is really nice, and everything sounded really good. The bass tone was great. I loved it. I could just hear the low rumble, but also just some of the higher notes like really popped out. And I was like, oh, it's good. He's in the mix. Like I love it. If you're gonna have a bass player in the band, have him on the album. And I'm seeing a trend of bands now where they'll go on stage with 2 guitars, no bass player, and I'm like, fine, fine. At least don't lie to me. Like, don't have a bassist on the stage that you can't hear. Or he's not on the album. Like that's perfect. Like just come out there with 2 fucking guitars. That's fine. But everything sounded really good on the new songs. Ian, you did a good job. Are you getting more involved in the writing process? Or are you kind of like orchestration or just doing your own bass lines? Like where do you sit with what they bring to the table?
I haven't brought any riffs or anything, and I haven't wrote riffs for a really long time.
Sure.
So I spent like all my formative years doing heavy music. It was in metal bands back home and everything, and then kind of stopped playing for a little bit because of stuff going on with life. And then when I got my first kind of opportunities to start playing again after moving to Grand Rapids, none of it was heavy.
Okay.
So I was like doing like Today and Tomorrow was just like an indie rock thing, and then I've been doing the thing with Lynn, which is like he's a singer-songwriter doing like a folk thing.
That's fun.
He hired me to record a record with him, and I've been playing with him for like 7 years now.
Nice.
So it's so I haven't been doing anything heavy until xIron Sharpens Ironx came along. But it was pretty cool because it's like riding a bike. You just kind of like fall right back into it. But
well, I mean, and it's not like when you were doing heavy stuff, you were just doing heavy stuff with a couple of people. I mean, you were playing with some people that were in wasn't it 7 Angels, 7 Plagues or something like that?
Yeah.
And so I mean, and then some of them guys went on to make Misery Signals or whatever. And I mean, so you're playing shows with Zayo and like back in the day. So I mean, hardcore and all that stuff is definitely not outside of your realm. And that was one of the things that we first started talking about when I first started jamming with Colt. I was like, why do we lock in so good? Because, I love Colt, but I'm not exactly somebody that's going to play a Tom Waits drum beat. I'm like, I want to play something heavier or whatever. And you locked right in with all of that. And so you fit perfectly in this band because you have a different perception on music and know exactly where to throw your flair and just where to add that extra oomph. I mean, and I think you can really tell on this record and all of our new songs.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that.
It's a really well-rounded sound from what I heard.
And it's been really cool coming back into the realm of heavy music too, because I've done so many different genres in between now.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of my favorite things to do now is like if I got some spare time to just go learn stuff that's like totally outside my circle and just like learn the nuances out. Like why does that sound the way it sounds? It's not just like playing the notes, because that's like 20% of the equation when you're doing music. There's so many other things going on. And I think it actually has made me a better player. And now I come back into doing heavy music like a more well-versed player and with a bit of a different approach. And certainly like I was definitely a guy that wanted to do as much as I possibly could back in the day. Like, you know,
same.
Like I wanted to just shred all over the place as much as I can. And I've got like such a more measured approach now. And I think I'm just much better off for it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things for me in my journey to learn and understand is where the bass fits, because I was always competing with Jay or trying to keep up with Jay, and there's a lot going on in metal music, and you're always trying to just shine as much as the person next to you, you know, but then you sit back and you start learning other styles of music where the bass is not ever the star. It's just constantly in the pocket, just where it needs to be, low or melody, you know. So once you start to see things like that, you're like, oh, half the time I'm just supplying a background sound. I'm just humming in the background.
Right.
And then there's moments where it's either a fill or it's an entire main portion, like a bass line that's a verse, like a sweet emotion type thing. Like, hey, this part's all me.
Right.
But then the rest of the song, like, you're not focused on that. You're on Steven Tyler or you're on, you know, Joe Perry.
Yeah.
So you're listening to those other elements. But learning where the bass fits was a huge, like, lifelong thing for me. I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to play what Jay's playing all the time. A lot of times I'm supposed to be playing with what Adam's playing. You know, just trim with the double bass, you know. So, or
even less than that sometimes.
Yeah.
Because
just whole notes.
Yeah.
Just
that's one thing that I've learned through my recording
that's where it reveals
journey.
itself.
Yeah, is because like the bass is playing all these fast notes, but the wave file of the bass doesn't come across like that in all these fast notes because it's slower to and bigger to come across the ear or even the eye when you're looking at the wave file.
Yeah.
So sometimes you want to be playing like eighths if someone else is playing 16ths or even quarter notes, and then you're actually that bass is filling out that sound. But if you're like go 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 that
clicking,
that wave just goes
wank,
wank, wank, you know what I mean? So then the sound just isn't there, and then you kind of understand the difference of like, oh yeah, the bass isn't necessarily got to trim every trim there is.
I think it's cool.
It sounds weird sometimes.
As a bassist, if you can do those things, if you got flash and you can tap, or you can just do all of these crazy, you know, scales, that's great. You want to be able to have that in the bag, but then you find yourself in the studio and you're like, I'm not going to do that because it doesn't sound good, period. Well, like it sounds
honestly,
better live, but yeah.
There's really not a whole lot of like projects out there where that stuff really fits in.
Right.
It's like 99% of music, especially heavy music, like finding out where the bass sits is actually like that's most of the job. Like, and there's actually like once you kind of come to grips with it, it's really rewarding to like be able to pick your spots and stuff and like do the right thing.
A good job on that, especially because there is a tapping spot on it's Grasping Straws. I think that you do some kind of like just
it's the only time I've ever tapped in my life. Yeah, to be honest.
and like, but it's cool. But you do it for like 3 seconds. With Jay, I think you're doing like a pull off or something like that.
Yeah.
Hammer-ons. And I think that sounds really cool. And one of our other newer songs, we wrote the riff around the bass. We're just playing something heavy, and you're just going to be slamming the top string as hard as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's really cool that you can make bass that defining thing, but also can just make it be the driving factor.
I mean, it's not hard for a bassist to have to swallow his pride. He already knows. He's just the bassist. But when it comes to like getting a good sound on the recording, like you really kind of have to say less is more. Like so often with the bass, you really have to just accept less is more, and then you can kind of zero in on a spot where like until this part, then I need to be really dialed in because I'm going to all of a sudden go from barely anything at all to blah, 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 and it's got to be crisp.
Right.
Like you want to be able to pull it off, especially in the studio where you don't want to be wasting time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think as a bass player, you always want to be working on your chops, but then you got to set it down a lot and say, okay, but for the sake of the song, most of this is going to be very easy.
Right.
Just really, really simple. Probably the most simple part in most of songs is the bassist because you're gonna let the drummer do the fills and the double bass kick, and then the guitarist is going to do all of the melody almost all of the time, and then the bass is going to maybe lock in with it or maybe have its own fill at some point.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the coolest things too is to pick your spots and use simplicity.
Mhm.
But you can really do a lot as a bass player if you like don't just play the root notes all the time.
right.
Like play a fifth below. Like you
Yep.
can thicken things up or make things sound different, or like you can change one verse from the next
Yeah.
just by shifting what you're playing, transpose up or down a little bit,
Yep.
and like almost play like a harmony guitar part.
Yeah.
And you can do really interesting things that way, and like you're not playing any more or less. Like
Right.
you're just kind of shifting stuff, and like, and most people won't even pick up on that's what's going on, but they'll hear something different going
Yeah.
on. Like the dynamics of this have changed.
Mhm.
And it's just like trying to make intelligent choices rather than just like
No,
showing
you're-
off. And
You're
that's-
absolutely right, because when it comes to like working around just playing the root notes, that's an artwork. Like if you want to try and get out of that, where you're not just doing on one with the
Yeah.
low note, but you're kind of like, how can I subtly walk the dog between not just a higher register, but how can I dip even lower than what the guitarists are doing? How can I
Yeah.
get down to that 5, and make that make sense without it just being the note?
Yeah,
Like the
gurgling up the fucking
just how can I
situation.
dip down to
Yeah.
that low note and walk it back up without it sounding like I'm just trying to ride that low note?
Right.
But you just want to find your way to it and then back up to where maybe you should be. But that's always been an art form to me. Is like, oh man, just to get one lower note than the guitar has always been kind of the goal. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I can look what I can do.
I
can
got
go
more.
I can
Yeah.
go lower,
Yeah.
but not make it just like the whole resonant sound of the wave or whatever. So
I mean, being able to produce the bass now for the Cult record, and I had a little less input. I had a few ideas for that for Cult. You guys,
Yeah.
I mean, because you guys took my feedback or whatever. But like sitting with Ian, not only did he take the time to that bass tone that you hear is Ian's bass tone. Like
Okay.
that's not Jamie King mess. That was
Right.
one. I sent Jamie King a list of things, and I said I really like the bass tone that we have captured. You can do what you want with it. Here's a DI signal, and here's our bass tone. But Ian took the time to dial that in, and I think the bass tone's great because
Yeah.
it sits in the mix completely.
yeah,
I'm not going to sit here on the show and listen to these bands that send in tracks or these bands that sit here and always give feedback about the bass and then not have it happen in the music that I'm putting out. You know what I mean? Because we're always like, oh, the bass could go up a little bit or it need a little more on the bass.
Yeah.
And I think Ian did a great job of that.
Yeah.
But like him receiving feedback and like me offering suggestions, like he was really open to a lot of stuff. And I love when if I'm recording you and I got something, hey, I love when we can at least try it,
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel like some of those parts, I'm not saying every idea I ever have is great, but a lot of times, like when we change stuff or when I make a suggestion, it comes back around. Even Larry mentioned, he's like, dude, that one part sounds sweet as fuck that Ian does that. I'm like, yeah, that was something that we kind of just came up with in the studio
Right.
on the Grasping Straws, where you stop on that dun.
Yeah, you had a
Dun,
lot of
yeah.
really good ideas too, and I think working in a vacuum just sucks because you need somebody to tell
Literally.
you. Yeah. No, but you need somebody to tell you when something sucks,
Yeah.
Like, dude, what you're doing there just doesn't work.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah,
And like, you need that because sometimes, especially when you're working on your own thing and you spent a lot of time on it, you get like old ears to it or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and like you're just kind of used to it,
Yeah.
and then you don't necessarily hear it in the right context, and you need somebody to just be like, yeah, do something else there, or what if you did this instead?
Right.
And like usually it's better than what you're doing because like you just, your idea is almost stale at that point
Yeah.
because it's just all you've ever known
Yeah.
for that part you're working on.
And I feel like all
So-
bands that are successful and sound good, I feel like it's because if you're like one member is like, I think we should try this. I think that would sound cool. That all the rest of them are like, okay, let's try it. What do you have to lose by just trying it? You know,
Right.
I mean, I feel like we've done that a lot on these songs. Is you'd be like, I don't really like this part. Let's try this, or I'll be like, let's do this. This is a little bit less complicated and more forward, and we just try different things. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but we always end up with a better product and better song because we're trying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like all bands that are open like that with their communication always end up being better because, your friends making music together. And so the point is to make the best music you can. So why not listen to everybody 100% and try?
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, so episode 100.
Yep.
How
This is
many
it.
bands? 60 at least?
Oh.
50 maybe?
Yeah, it's
50, half,
well,
you think?
it-
50
it-
bands?
it just depends on how you look at it, but yeah, probably about 50 would be accurate. Maybe maybe just under.
Yeah, maybe
I have a
less.
master. I have a master list actually.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's on this computer, but
I'm just like, I don't think we've had one band on yet that's been like, he does everything and I just do what he says.
Right.
It's just kind of one of those things where you don't, and it goes back to what Adam was saying earlier. And I remember Adam saying this when we were recording some Infinite Design stuff. Oh, you do that there? I'm like, yeah, I do that there. So it's like he said, when he's jamming something and he's just playing a fill, and then if you don't evaluate that, then you get in the studio or you get way down the road and you're playing live and you're like, dude, that just doesn't, you're playing 9 notes there and I'm playing 4. Why does
and
that
sometimes
sound
it just
like
be
that?
off like one note. That's all it's off.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy cow, I never heard it that way. I was
Yeah, it's just what you hear,
Yep.
you know, and then like you get used to it jamming it in the room. It's metal, it's loud, fucking got your muffs on. You're like, okay, it sounds cool enough to get through the practice, but after you play it for 4 months, you're like, yeah, I don't know, that's not clicking right there, you know. So
That even keeps going after it's recorded too.
oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't think I've ever played a song that I recorded that is still being played the same as it was when it was recorded, because
Yeah.
that just keeps getting refined,
Yeah.
especially like when you bring stuff out live and find stuff works differently live.
yeah, and it's just, you know, you're in the room, you practice something, you write something, it sounds good at the moment, but I just, like anything, I just feel like your songs, your music, your skill, it's always evolving. You know, it's always an evolution of something. It's like always just this open door where like something could be a little different, and then you're like, oh, we already recorded it that way, but now we're actually kind of playing it this way. Like I want to be too jazz with it because it is metal. It's got to be pretty on the grid, you know. I don't want it to be fucking, oh, we're just winging this fucking thing, you know. Like we really need to know what we're doing here. We need to have it dialed in. But
I mean, and then you can always refine things and change them, and then re-record them later too. I mean, that's what we've done with Colt. Is I mean, we recorded 2 songs and they don't sound anything like the originals that Colt had put out.
Yeah.
And I mean, in one of our new songs too that haven't been recorded yet, it takes a riff from Dehumanized and then adds that into it because we all just kind of liked that riff. I mean, but we don't play it the same. It sounds different and it's heavier and it's refined. So I mean, you know, there's always opportunities after you've made those changes and make it better to also revisit it later on a recording as well.
Yeah. So since I'm interviewing you guys, Nick is as well. So how you feel about the process, the new songs, where you're at with your musical situation, Adam? I mean,
I feel where we're at right now, I think is just musically probably the most rich music we've put together. I feel like it's still heavy. The groove's there. We still got some tech, the death metal, the hardcore. It's all still there, but we're writing stuff that people can grasp better than anything in the past. Remembering parts, you know, more catchy sounding stuff that people are going to get into more. Not that we write it for people. You know, we've always wrote music for ourselves, but I think we're writing stuff now that is musically going to be accepted and like appreciated by people a lot more. So I feel really good where we're at. It's got that mix of everything.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I always say, like we're the mutts of metal, because it's just one of those things where it's not just about our influences, or what we've played before, but it's just hard to put a tag on anything. Even though I like to, even the bands I was listening to last night, I'm like, what is that band? Post-hardcore, melodic post-hardcore. That's what that band is. You know, it's like you try to put a label on it, you can go find it later, or you know where to get it again. You know, but for us, I don't know. I wouldn't say, like, if you asked, you know, what was Infinite Design, I'd be the first to say we're fucking death metal and proud of it. I mean, it's, you know, that was always my thing, where it's like we're pretty much just a death metal band. We get tech sometimes, we have groove, we do, but we're a death metal band. But as far as Iron Sharpens Iron, I don't like to say we're a death metal band because we have some parts that are death metal, but I don't want to be labeled as a death metal band.
Honestly, because I went back and forth, you know, I said we were.
You
a
always do. You got
band.
metallic hardcore. You got fucking.
Now we're just West Michigan hardcore now, because I look at it as we're a hardcore band because of our message and our lyrics and the emotion we're wanting people to hear.
Right. Do you think hardcore dudes would be offended by that, Larry?
I fucking hope not.
I mean, you are a hardcore dude, so maybe not.
I guess
but like,
I don't have my glasses on today, but but I mean, to me,
no, I'm just saying, because hardcore can be so. I didn't mean to interrupt,
no,
but I'm just saying, like, hardcore can be so like this is the thing. You know what I mean? Because our band, honestly, we're not going to probably play Tied Down Fest.
Oh yeah, probably not.
But that's all like 45 hardcore bands.
But also, I mean,
you know,
you get bands playing that festival. I mean, Turnstile's playing that festival.
Yeah,
I mean, Speed is playing that. They got a breakdown and then a flute solo.
Right.
So I mean, you got check them out, Nick. They're fucking sick. But I mean, then you get bands. I mean, like honestly, hardcore I really feel is about the message and the emotions, because like you got Madball, you got H2O, you got Terror, you got Hatebreed, and then you got like, you know, all these other bands, like, I mean, the newer hardcore bands, like Vane and Knocked Loose. I mean, all of them say we're a hardcore band. None of them sound exactly alike, but they all got the same thing with the emotion and the vocals driving. It's like, we want you to feel this.
Yeah.
I mean, Earth Crisis too. I mean, so honestly, I think it's more about the message and what you want people to feel compared to like, you know, kill your mother, rape your dog, kind of like thing.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's hardcore bands, you know, that fall into the genre of hardcore that don't sound anything like you would imagine hardcore being. And I think it's more just down to a mentality and like, it's sort of like hardcore is almost like metal with punk rock sensibilities kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
You know, it's
You guys are definitely a hardcore band, but there's a lot of metal influence. So
Right.
wherever that genre kind of converges, where hardcore meets metal because of the riffs, it's not just pure hardcore.
right.
It's got a lot of hardcore elements. So, and with that, you could almost say, well, you're deathcore, but you're not, because you're not doing deathcore vocals nonstop.
Right.
You're not doing breakdown after breakdown after breakdown.
Yeah.
And there's more hardcore than just metal.
Right.
Like just heaviness. I mean, it's heavy almost all the time, but it's not a deathcore band.
Right.
It's closer to a hardcore metal band, like that crossover.
Like
Right.
Metallica hardcore.
Yeah.
Metallic
Sure.
hardcore. Yeah.
That's usually what I tell people when they ask hardcore metal.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because like the bands that all influence us with this, I mean, like you like a lot of different bands
Well-
now. I mean, you're finding newer bands too that you like that are more like back in the
Well-
day. If I was like, would Jay like this? Fuck knows. Now there's like 3 2-steps in this. Jay's gonna fucking hate this shit.
Well, it's Nick and I's job basically now just to consume ourselves with so much metal.
Right.
And like, you know, Luke's one of my best friends, and he's
Right.
always sending me stuff, and he's like, was trying to get me to like punk rock, which one thing I probably won't ever get that far. I don't want to say ever, never,
Right.
but punk rock's always a real
Right.
fucking hard one. But like, it starts creeping real fast into the hardcore
yeah.
stuff. So, you know, I just way more open nowadays too to
Right, I mean,
stuff,
it-
like, because we used to all be the death metal elitist guys.
Mhm.
I mean, Nick and I've carried that flag for a long time. Like,
But in the
it's
same
not fucking
sense-
death metal. Fuck that. Like, you know.
But in the
so-
same sense, when I first joined Infinite Design, I was like, I love Earth Crisis.
Yep.
I mean, Straight Edge dude, and that was one of the bands that Nick was like one of my top records.
Yeah.
Gomorrah Season's End.
Yeah.
Like, I am straight edge. I mean, like, you don't get any more fucking
Yeah.
hardcore than that.
Right.
And I mean, so it's like, and I mean, and he's playing like dissonant chords over top of a breakdown. I mean, so it's like,
Yeah, Earth Crisis is one of those early bands for me where it's like they are hardcore, but I kind of looked at them as metal because they had a lot of metal riffage.
Yeah.
And
Right.
They did more
Yep.
more than just hardcore punk.
right.
They were like hardcore metal. So that was one that clicked with me early. I just thought they were a metal band, but with a fresh sound. And then Luke's like, no, bro, they've been doing this for
Right.
decades. Like
Yeah.
this sound has existed.
And now it's like you look at that and that comes full circle. I mean, the dude from Earth Crisis just did a guest spot on X Weapon X, which is people from Knocked Loose's other project.
Yeah.
So it's like it's never ending. It's always that message being pushed forward. I mean, and so that's what I would say that we are, is, you know, just a hardcore band that has all that death metal and just different influences.
Mm.
And
And going back to what we talked about, you know, I mean, it's xIron Sharpens Ironx,
right.
right.
which kind of stands for the straight edge thing, but
Right.
Larry's the only straight edge
Right.
one in the band.
And that was because
so-
it started as the solo project.
Right, exactly.
And,
So,
but in the same sense, like, you know, there are some other bands too that are straight edge bands that, you know, it's more the message of the singer, because the singer is straight
Yeah,
edge.
He's got to say the words.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
I don't
Like,
have
gotta-
to say the words.
Right.
so,
Gotta buy in.
I mean, you
yeah.
got like the Slapshot and different bands like that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, in the same sense, we don't write about straight edge all the time either.
Right,
I like
right.
to try to write lyrics and stuff like that people can relate to, and also try to leave them open so that people can interpret them how they wish.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one thing. And, you know, with me, you know, when I came back into the band and really got more involved in like what everything we're doing now, I kind of wanted to have that, like when you and I discussed that, like about the lyrics. I don't want it to be just straight up. Because hardcore sometimes with a message, this is the message.
Yeah.
Right.
These 12 words, 15 words,
Yep.
this is it.
Right.
And I still wanted to have some artistic flow to it.
Yeah.
Where that's more of the metal approach.
Right.
Because on some of the other stuff, you're like, I am hardcore. I am this. I am that.
Right.
I believe in this. I believe in that. Whereas, like, I'm cool with that.
Right.
But that also limits your audience to the people that kind of only believe in that. If they're,
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean? It kind of gets them along on your team, where sometimes, like, you want to leave some of that open so you can, like maybe hints of that where you can,
Right.
But
Well, and also
I
it's
just
like-
didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves into like a, whatever it may be, a leftist fucking blah, blah, straight
Sure.
edge fucking blah. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, I wanted to be a little more, not just this is our message. type
Right.
thing,
And I mean, and I also, I want that to be open too, is like, I want it to be things that people can think about and then maybe they can interpret that and make a change in themselves or make a change in their community. Like when we play shows and I play samples between our sets, when we did that at Hoist Fest, I got a lot of people coming up to us and be like, I liked what was in between all the songs.
Yeah.
And
for
I didn't
sure.
have to say anything other than, maybe fuck a few people that, everybody can pretty much agree on.
Right.
But like,
The songs suck, but what you did in between them,
right,
awesome.
those are sick.
Yeah.
Six set. I love them 1 minute minuets when you guys didn't play in
Right.
between.
I mean, there's very few things that like
was
our
fucking
band will
awesome.
always be.
So where do I find your samples to buy? That's all I want.
You got those just on a record I can listen to?
I'm gonna put those on my record too. Steal them samples.
I mean, our band will always be pro-human. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing.
For
Is like,
sure.
you're going to come to our show, we want you to know that you're going to be welcomed at our show. We will always stand in opposition to things that everyone should stand in opposition to.
Right.
But we will always also write things that try to be thought-provoking and also try to create self-growth. So-
yeah, I mean, you could take early on, maybe you can have an approach like, this is what we stand for, this is what we want to say. And you start getting into years of doing it, and you don't want to repeat yourself.
Right.
You don't want to
Right.
limit your vocabulary.
Right.
So you can have the same ideas that you want to get across, but then you start to really like find new ways to express them.
Right.
Like, I'm going to take. So this is the idea that I want to convey, but then this is the medium I want to convey it through.
Right.
I think, like, for example, when you talk about film, like Interstellar, is that a sci-fi movie, or is that like a love story in a sci-fi medium, or is it more of like a family thing? Like, there's all these layers to it, right? So when
Right.
you start doing that with your music, you start to have like, okay, here's the overall idea that I want, like whether it's a healthy lifestyle or accepting
Right.
all walks of life. But then you say, but how do I want to tell that story? Because I don't want to just be blunt in your face with
Right.
it. Kind of already, you can do that for so long. And then you start to realize you're just kind of going in circles with the same words all the
Right.
time. And you're like, well, that's exactly what I said in the last song or the last album. So
Yeah.
now I have to use a different brushstroke. I
Yeah.
need some other texture to it to give it more depth, and also just be a little bit veiled with it, so
Right.
that you can have the open interpretation with your
Right.
listeners. I think that and plus, if you're writing lyrics, like if you're the person putting pen to paper, at some point you're gonna be like, I already said that.
Right.
I got to say something different.
Yeah,
here.
40 songs of don't eat meat and don't do drugs. Like, I mean, how are you going to do that? You
I don't know.
what I'm
Ask
saying?
Earth
Like,
Crisis.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Like,
Yeah, but even Carl's lyrics,
Yeah.
like he'll sing about depression, but
Yep.
he'll also
Yeah.
use, like a medium or a story to
Right.
tell that through. It's not just going to be in your face the whole
Right.
time. There's some articulation there. I love it.
we're going to start wrapping this up here soon. We're starting to approach the 2-hour mark, but I just wanted to tell a quick story. Is I'm not personally straight edge. You're basically the only straight edge
Yeah.
guy in the band, right? But so we played with this band, and singer was like, "Fuck straight edge," and they were playing with our band that says xIron Sharpens Ironx.
Yeah.
Don't know this dude from fucking nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not straight edge, so I don't care. But I'm also like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Because why would you say that? What? Live your life how you want to
Yeah.
fucking live your. Why would you say fuck straight edge? Like,
Yeah.
to me, you're basically saying, like, you're saying fuck straight edge because you think everybody should get fucked up or something. Like, you know what I mean? It just
Right.
was the weirdest thing to say, especially playing with our band.
Yeah.
I took it as a personal shot, so I was just like, fuck that guy forever.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just like, why would you say that? I don't
Right.
know. And then you're playing with a band that has the X's on it. Like, well, that's kind of fucked up. Like, I don't know if it was a purposeful thing. I don't know if it was something that, he didn't think about, which may have been the thing. I was trying to give him some grace, but at the same time, just like, to me, I'm just like, well, fuck you then. Like, I don't, like, I'm not out there saying fuck straight edge guy. You know what I mean? Like, what, or, whatever.
It was
It's
a not
just-
thinking
or-
kind of moment.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
I just thought it was kind of weird, but like I personally took offense to it because I'm like, it's not my message, but like if it's somebody else's message, they're not hurting you. They're not fucking holding a knife to your throat saying you better not drink that beer or fucking whatever the case may be. It's just live your life how you want to live it.
But I know there's been hit pieces on straight edge over the history of its existence. Like you go back maybe 20 years and 2020's doing like a hit piece on straight edge because it was like a gang culture.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's kind of like just one faction of straight edge that existed somewhere.
Right.
So you got some punks that are out destroying cars or picking fights with people. It's like, well, okay, that's that one little pocket.
Right.
But that's not the whole straight edge movement.
Well, it's the same thing. I mean,
Black metal.
We're all musicians.
right.
We're all musicians at this table. I know you guys, like, you the less out of anybody, but we've spent enough time together. I know you as a person now, and fucking we're all good people. We all want the best for everybody and ourselves. But there's still fucking satanic Nazi bands. So it doesn't mean all musicians are fucking satanic Nazis. You know what I mean? So it's just like if 2020 did a hit piece on all musicians are satanic Nazis because it's the same thing. Any field you're in, there's going to be some dickheads that infiltrate it and fucking give it a bad name, even though that mostly straight edge is positive, but you can't crowd kill and punch somebody in the face because they don't have X's on their hands either.
Right.
So
you do that because you want to have fun.
Right. So... All right, dudes. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. I know Ian's got to get bouncing out of here pretty quick. And like I said, we're almost hitting the 2-hour mark. So just give us a synopsis, a rundown of kind of what's next and what's going on with you fellas, us fellas.
I mean, pretty much we're going to just slowly keep raveling out these songs, play some fun shows in the process, hopefully play more that come up. I want to get into some places we've never played before. It'd be nice if we could get into the intersection and play a show there. Hopefully they hit us up for the Hatebreed show.
Hell yeah.
And, just play with some awesome bands we've never played before. Keep writing new songs. Then hit the studio again. Just keep on being productive and growing together as a band and meeting new cool people. And
when does the video drop? Did we say?
The video will drop the same week as the
13th?
single. Yep.
Yeah, so it'll be the following week after this podcast airs.
Okay.
I was trying to line it up that way, but I didn't know.
We'll hype it up for we'll hype it up for a week.
Yeah. Well, we stuff happens, So we got time.
And so we got the video, we got the singles, we got some shows, and then some future writing and possibly more new music in the following year.
Yeah, I mean, we have the new music on deck right now. We just got to get it on wax, pretty much, because I'm real happy with like the 6 other songs that we have.
Okay.
Like I said, and we've tossed 4 or 5 of them just by the wayside. We have one that's really cool, but it is an Infinite Design song, still, so I don't know where that's going to go.
Is it the one that I scratched? From what you sent me,
no,
I told him one of them was like it's just it doesn't fit.
Right.
It's like I could see it for the technicality, but I was like the rest of the songs are super melodic.
Right.
And he's like, well, maybe I'll use it for Iron. So I didn't know if you were going to use it or not. For
no, probably not. I got a lot of other musical projects I want to work on, so I got a lot of things popping.
I straight up told him I was like, this we can only use half of that. And he was
which is fine. I'm cool with that. I'd rather be told that, hey, it just doesn't fit the project. I wrote another one and I really like that one.
Yeah,
too,
I like that too.
It's like,
So you guys got the singles, you got the video, you got the shows, you got more stuff in the bag, and I guess come back like when that's done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sometime next year. I'm sure we'll like when we really get rolling back again and whatever. But I would like to, definitely hit the studio again and.
Gonna do anything different other than the drum approach?
Probably do a lot of different stuff.
I'm gonna drop out again, or I'm gonna piss my pants.
All right, well, we almost done.
This old man bladder here.
Yeah.
Same for me. I gotta go bed.
All right.
Bye, Larry.
Yep. Well, that being said, y'all keep it metal. Larry's peacing out of here. Thanks, guys, for coming.
All right, thanks for having me.
Y'all.
Good
Look out for the
times.
new single.
Iron Sharpens
Peace.
Iron.
Episode 100 in the bag.
Nice. Congrats,
Peace.
guys. That's
Later.
awesome.
Yes, love it.
Thank you so much for checking out the episode. Be sure to hit that like button and give us a share.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed our podcast today, please give it a rating on your streaming service to help us gain some exposure.
And if you really enjoyed the show, please give us a follow or hit that subscribe button and come hang out with us every week. And remember, keep it metal.